WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, so good morning. It's 6:23 and a really mild start to the day. It's going to be mid-60s today and rain. Although I think we start with a little sunshine. We'll see. But then it gets cold. In the next week to 2 weeks, it looks like wintry weather is on the way. Davey, quickly, Syracuse yesterday. I was watching the score, and I'm like, boy, I got to tell you. They're down by one at the half. Maybe I'll watch the second half. And then I saw they were down by like 4 or 5. And then I saw they were down by 10. And then they were like almost 20.
Yeah, but
at that point, I'm like, no.
Yeah, but they came back though.
Again?
From 20, they made it into 10.
Yeah.
And then,
okay. Well, I've seen that story all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, the minute they fall behind by 10, they're done in the second half.
Yeah.
I did not even take the time to watch it. So I heard you guys
watched the whole thing
talking about the next coach, and you don't believe they will name that coach until they get an AD.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then today, I would expect most likely he'll be fired today.
Yeah, he admitted during his post-game news conference last night, reporters asked him, what does the future hold for you? And he says, well, I'm going to be meeting with the university today, when we get back. So it could be D-Day today. So you probably see an announcement either today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Adrian Autry out as Syracuse basketball coach.
Well, it is what it is.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
He's got 3 years. The first year they had 20 wins. Last year they had 14. This year they had 15.
This is not Syracuse basketball.
And they haven't made the tournament. That's the biggest thing that the trustees and the university.
Meanwhile, McNamara wins their conference and gets an automatic
second
bid
year
into the tournament.
Yep.
So
let's root for Siena during the men's basketball tournament
and
next
Colgate
week.
is not in.
Right.
So there you go. And then, of course, the men's hockey NCAA tournament gets underway this weekend. Utica hosts Williams at 7 p.m. at the Adirondack Bank Center. And then in Clinton, over at Hamilton College, Hamilton will host Newman at 7 p.m. in the quarterfinal round of the NCAA tournament. The Frozen Four will be in Utica. There you go, Manaski.
Yeah, I don't know what and what kind of a turnaround the program could make. Does Carmelo Anthony stay? Does he tell his son to stay?
Well, the son didn't play yesterday or Saturday. They were saying it's an upper body injury that he had. And Carmelo was at the game yesterday, and he was given like coaching tips. You could see at one time they showed him he was pointing his hands.
Carmelo is probably like, listen, I don't want you playing in this debacle. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to get hurt. He's got to get into the weight room, I would think, the Anthony kid. He's got to bulk up just a little bit. Anyway, there you go. So we're going to speak with Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel coming up in a few minutes. We've had really nice weather. And then, of course, Beth, you combine that with daylight saving time, and it was not bad.
It's the dead of summer out there.
It was not bad. It was not bad sitting out last night till about 7 o'clock.
I know. The last few days have been ideal.
Yeah.
Ideal. But I'm happy with the sun. I don't care if it's 70 degrees or 30 below. As long as the sun is shining, I can handle it.
Yeah, get a little sunshine. We need that vitamin D.
Yep.
For sure.
D.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll speak with Ray Stajic coming up in a few minutes.
And real quick on the forecast, like I see, we've talked about this before.
Oh, it's winter.
Oh, yeah, no. But like tomorrow, it says the forecasted high for the day is like 62 degrees, or I don't know what your app has, but it's again one of those situations where it's gonna be 62 at 1 a.m. and by 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're in the low 30s. So while it says tomorrow, low 60s is the high, we're gonna.
Mine just says 35 tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
mine says a high of 62 with some rain showers.
Yeah, if you look at the if you look at the hourly app, and I have this on the Weather Channel app. By midnight, it says here anyway, it'll be about 59, and then the plummeting continues. 57 by 1 a.m., 52 by 2 a.m., by 5 a.m., 39, by 9 a.m., 31. So you're right. Any chance of that 62 will happen right around between midnight and 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so the point being, today's the end of this nice little March warm-up.
Yeah, and it does look like a couple of weeks of this, and we'll speak with Ray coming up in a few minutes to get the latest on that. Tanya Powers, also the Save America Act. President Trump all about this and really pushing to have this thing enacted where it would be required nationally to require an ID for someone to cast a vote. So, plus there's a few other things in there. We've paid so much attention to this transgender thing. Well, because so many men are transitioning to women and playing in women's sports, it might be like 1 or 2. Most of the transgender are females who have transitioned to male, who are not this burly, bearded man in a pink dress trying to play, women's whatever, but. That is a part of this Save America Act, along with a few other things that are really non-voting. But it's all about saving America. Meanwhile, the Iranian war continues, and the president says, no, we are way ahead of where we thought we would be as we go in to day now number 12. Last week, they told us that we have completely eliminated Iran's ability to fire off missiles, and we have clear, complete air supremacy over over Tehran and over Iran, which we kind of don't right now. But nonetheless, they are digging in, and the bombs continue to fall. We'll speak with Tanya about all of that coming up. Jeremy Rosenthal is on with a Rosenthal report. Hobica's free money question this morning, Davey, is worth. I mean, you're going to go with $200 today. No craziness. $200 today. We'll do that. Evan Brown is on. Utica Mayor Mike Galimi is in. A bunch of topics to get to with the mayor. There's also an interesting story out there when we speak to, and I think we're going to have the CEO of Utica's Wynn Hospital coming up in the next few days. Do you have that set, Davey?
I sure do, Bill. Next Tuesday. 8:15.
All right, so there is a problem with Wynn being backed up where at the emergency room. So when it becomes a real peak time, you have like 10, 11. I was told yesterday by an official who did not want to be identified that they were 14 ambulances backed up at Wynn's emergency room. Backed up meaning they can't bring them in because the emergency room was full. Or there weren't enough physicians to handle any more patients coming in, so they keep them in the ambulance. Now, what problem could this pose? The big problem is, if you were listening on the scanner, you were hearing, I'm sorry, we don't have an ambulance available. And they were going for a call in Utica. They were trying to find an ambulance in Herkimer County because there was nothing closer available. So that becomes a real issue, and it's something we can talk to County Executive Pacini about.
Wow.
And also the CEO of Wynn. Yesterday we had the doctors in from the ER, which, listen, they have a tough job. But when it's overwhelmed, how do we fix that problem? And that's going to be an interesting
14
one, too.
ambulances stacked up.
That's what I was told. It was 14. And this was an official who said that was official. Let's speak with official weatherman Ray Stajic on the line right now. Well, we're backed up with beautiful weather, and you know, I miss a little winter. Why don't we bring winter back for a few weeks? What do you think?
Okay.
Easy.
It's nobody should have been fooled, right? Has anybody been fooled?
I do think I was listening to a young meteorologist who said, finally, winter is over. And I wanted to call him up and say,
First day on the job?
yeah, winter, it's like March 1st. Winter is not over.
No.
Yeah.
No. Today you may feel that. We'll get well into the 60s. One of the things I dug out regionally from yesterday, if you didn't hear, New York City, 80 yesterday. Wow. Earliest 80-degree temperature on record.
I think I saw
low 70s.
Syracuse had a record, too, yesterday. I don't know what it was. I had like 71 at my house.
Yeah, it was very warm. It continues to stay warm. Syracuse was standby. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. 72.
72. I find that hard to believe that that's a record, but okay.
Well, I'm wondering if the
record. Go ahead.
I'm wondering if the temperature fluctuation is before when you just were saying they were backing up ambulances at the local hospital. Are people,
I guess that's possible.
pulling out the flip flops and the t-shirts and
we're tomorrow morning will be about 40 degrees colder than today's high. So.
Yeah, and you know what?
80 in New York City. That's where the dolphins must have come from because there was, I don't know if you saw, there were dolphins swimming in the Hudson.
In the Hudson,
I didn't see that. Yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to do that, but a long time ago. But you know what's interesting about some of these records is that it breaks a record in Syracuse, for example, of 67 in 1977. Anybody remember those cold winters in the late 70s, 77, 78?
Yes.
And you've got a record mixed in there of 67 degrees. So the message there is really that, just because you have extremely cold or perceivably cold winters doesn't mean mixed in there that you don't have these spikes in temperatures. And we will, and we'll get a little wet weather and a few rumbles of thunder today, tonight, and then we'll start seeing the colder air come in. And, you really get more complex and tricky forecasts when you get into March and you head towards spring, because is it rain? Is it snow? Is it a combination of both?
Yeah.
And just a few hundred feet in elevation could mean all the difference of heavy or wet snow trying to accumulate, then you won't. But either way, I think tomorrow we get some rain showers with maybe a little sleet and some snow showers especially in the Adirondacks, and even on into Friday, some rain and snow showers. Snow showers may continue on and off with a little rain mixed in the valley locations as we get into the weekend and next week. There's opportunities for accumulating snow in the Adirondacks, especially. It could be maybe several inches. I mean, if you buy, it makes me nervous saying if you buy the American model verbatim, there could be in excess of 6 inches of snow over the weekend, maybe more in the Adirondacks. So we're in that time of year where is it going to rain? Is it going to snow? And you're a little more kind of weary of accumulating snow, but a big dump of cold air coming in around St. Patrick's Day. We might not get out of 20s a couple days next week.
I saw that. I was thinking St. Patrick's Day was going to get warm weather this year, and we're just missing it. Ray, as a kid in the 1970s, I remember just looking out the window every morning thinking, when is this snow going to go away? But if I remember then, our snowbanks, our snowbanks were over 6 feet tall, and the snow, you could dig down and create a cave and a fort, and we had even though you look at this and say, wow, this is an old-fashioned winter, it was the cold for us. I know to the north they got a lot of snow, but I just remember so much snow here as a kid. It never went away.
I agree. Growing up in the Hudson Valley, what I used to remember was it used to snow before Thanksgiving. We rarely get that anymore. And, and we'll see.
This year we got it. This year it started in November and didn't end.
Right.
So
yeah, it didn't. Do want to throw on top of all this the river flooding potential. There's a flood watch that'll kick in this afternoon through tomorrow evening because you got rain on top of melting snow, on top of potential ice jams around the Mohawk and Little Falls, West Canada Creek, also the Delta Dam. Those are some areas that may be affected. So, everybody knows if you've lived here long enough, the areas that are going to have flooding and some of the low-lying areas, when you get melt, when you get potential ice jams. So just be on the lookout for some of that too. But as I said, it does turn colder, I think, next week, and then we actually end up about the 20th then or the 21st. It looks like we'll start transitioning back to mild weather. And I don't know, I'm not ready to say it's not going to freeze again. We know we can get freeze and frost right into April, so we're not there yet.
And then the other part of this is I would have thought after months of cold, really cold weather, and a whole month of February, it seemed like it was below zero for a really good part of it, that it would have taken longer for the snow to melt. But man, this week the snow just melted away.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It seems like it takes so long to build it up and then to crash it down, especially with the rain coming in and the warm temperatures. I'm really going to see an acceleration of that. But hey, we all know there's still going to be snow up on the hill. It's going to take a while for some of that, 3, 4, 5 feet of snow that came. That was on the ground over the winter on the Tug Hill Plateau and parts of the Adirondacks and the shady areas to go away. And as I said, there's more natural snow coming. The question is going to be, how much is there going to be? There'll be a stronger system that may come in, looks like with the front around the 16, 17 St. Patrick's Day that could bring some of the coldest air we've seen probably in a couple of weeks. And
then one more quickie. You might not know anything about this, but I've been finding online water displacement in a pool. And so we had one of the elephant covers that's always been very durable, but for some reason there was so much ice, I think so many days in a row, where it was either close to zero or below zero. The ice just kept forming and forming, snowed on top of it, more ice, and it collapsed it ripped the springs right apart and collapsed. It collapsed the cover down into the water, and now the water is like 3 feet shy of the top. Like, where did all the water go? And I was reading that it's if there's a lot of ice, that the ice will go in and displace the water. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
like an iceberg, kind of an iceberg.
Oh, yeah, that or when you do a cannonball, right?
Right.
You do a cannonball and you got the mass of your body, and the water that splashes out of the pool displaces, that amount of water that you splash out. It's just the mass coming in that's got to be displaced by the amount of water that actually gets out of the pool. But no, it's strange. Elephant cover. It broke the springs. They came out of the concrete.
I did not come out of the concrete. The springs ripped apart. Wow. That's pretty heavy.
That's heavy.
Yeah. I'm going home today, and I'm going to tell my wife, Ray Stajic said it's water displacement, and there's not a rip in the liner. We're all good. So
right. I think you're good.
All right, Ray. Thanks so much. You have a great day. Ray Stajic with the Weather Channel Madaski with an update on news here this morning at 6:41.
We have clear skies and 44 degrees at 6:41. Some terrible weather in the Midwest. We'll get to that coming up in just 1 second. The Pentagon says the U.S. military has destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels. President Trump posting on Truth Social yesterday, calling the inactive mine-laying boats and or ships, saying that they had been hit and completely destroyed. This follows reports that Iran was laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz to disrupt oil moving through the region's key choke point. About 1/5 of the world's crude oil passes through that strait. The State Department reports more than 40,000 Americans now have returned to the United States from the Middle East. Meanwhile, the department has helped over 27,000 Americans abroad, offering security guidance and travel assistance. A special congressional race in the Northwest Georgia is heading to a runoff. Republican Clay Fuller and Democrat Sean Harris receiving the most votes in District 14 yesterday. The race to fill the remaining term of Marjorie Taylor Greene will now be decided in the April 7th runoff. Severe weather is causing chaos in central states. There are reports of several tornadoes touching down in northeastern Illinois, northwest Indiana, central Texas, and Oklahoma. Softball-sized hail was spotted in Illinois, which is where there were also reports of roofs being torn off homes and trees being uprooted. House Speaker Mike Johnson is not condemning anti-Muslim remarks made by 2 Republican congressmen. Johnson suggested the men weren't talking about Muslims in general, but rather efforts to impose Islamic Sharia law in the United States. Johnson spoke Tuesday after Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles said that Muslims don't belong in American society, while Florida Congressman Randy Fine said that, quote, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one, end quote.
Yeah. Listen, if you look at our military, and actually look at the city of Utica, half of the Bosnians who live in Utica are Muslim. So this attack on a religion because you have extremists. Remember, the KKK is Christian. Do we condemn all Christians because they run around in their pillowcases and try to hang black people from a tree? What the freak is wrong with people? And this person is a person of power. Pretty scary.
And they're some of the fine comments.
Which by the way, there should be no sympathy for anybody who tries to bomb someone or kill someone, or they should just be treated like the criminals that they are. But to assume that is an entire religion, well, there's a lot of Muslim as a history. So do Christians, you freaking idiot. Just look at a little bit of history for 2 seconds. Well, I don't do that. I just know how things go. So don't you tell me, you liberal scumbag. Sorry, Jeff. This is all playing out in my head. I'm sorry.
So we talked about the tornadoes in Illinois. There is a Mega Millions winner somewhere in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, won't be here. I have won 3 lotteries in a row using the Jack Pocket app.
With $2, $3,
$2, $4, and a whopping 10. Makes me something special.
Last night's jackpot was worth $533 million estimated. There was a single winning ticket sold in Illinois. The winner or winners have a cash option of $244 million.
I realize that is a huge decrease, but I would take it in a heartbeat.
For sure.
Right?
Right now we have some clouds, 44 degrees at 6:45.
Warm day today, but big changes on the way. And in between, maybe some flooding with a flood watch to this afternoon and through tomorrow afternoon and evening. As for ice jam flooding, some flooding from melting snow possible in some spots of low-lying areas and also from some of the rain coming in. So west to east this afternoon, we'll start to see showers, thunderstorms, 67. Tonight, rain showers, eventually some snow and sleet mixing in as we fall to near freezing by morning. Maybe some isolated slick areas tomorrow and some passing showers of rain and snow, maybe a little sleet mixing in. A high only 33 with a gusty breeze making it feel colder. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
45 degrees, Bill, at 6:46.
Couple of quick comments. Lester Holt 7. I didn't realize Lester was out there listening. Finally back in the studio, Bill. I've actually been all last week, and we were gone for the radiothon. That's true.
Friday.
Dolphins swimming yesterday in the Hudson. Dolphins washing ashore today, dead. Jawick. Who says leaving the heater on in your pool will also add to water displacement as well, right? And the answer to that is I really don't necessarily do that.
And further down, you said that, kidding about heating the pool, yeah.
Yeah, kidding about that. On the line right now is the one and only Tanya J. Powers from Fox News Radio. Tanya, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So President Trump really pushing yesterday hard on the Save America Act, and he really is pressuring Mike Johnson and Congress to get this thing done. Meanwhile, we continue to have primaries, but this would, I'm assuming, go into effect for the upcoming midterm election in November. What do we know about all of this? Tanya, good morning.
Yeah, this is something that has passed the House. Like you said, the wrangling over whether it gets through the Senate or not is kind of where we are at this point. The president has, like you said, pushed the Congress and said he's not going to sign anything else until they pass this voting bill. And kind of in a nutshell, what this is, it would require you to you would have to prove your citizenship in order to register to vote. I think a lot of people hear SAVE Act and immediately think, well, what's wrong with showing your driver's license at the ballot? I mean, like at the polls. Like, why would you not want? Why would you have a problem with it?
Right.
It's the number one question I hear about this whenever I do this topic. It's not the same thing as voter ID in the 36 states that already have a voter ID law. Like I said, most states already require you to do that in order to register. Some require you to do it at the polls when you cast a ballot. Others just require you to, obviously, have your driver's license and, when you register. This would require proof of citizenship. That is different. And that would require a lot more documentation to back that up. It would also implement
driver's license
ID requirement.
A driver's license would not work for something like that, right?
Right.
It doesn't show your nationality.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people who would have, a lot more trouble. They would be, they wouldn't be registered to vote, even though they are now. This would be a situation where unless you got your documentation together, if you have, like, if you're a woman who's changed her name when she got married, that's not going to match your birth certificate. And so, there's a lot of things that are kind of, when you're looking at this, it's not just a simple show your driver's license at the poll. It's more than that.
Well, yesterday, Carolyn Levitt was really pushing back on that, saying this will not affect newly married women. They're able to go right down to wherever the Board of Elections and bring their documentation. The problem is it becomes a step. It's not as simple as just going down to the Board of Elections and bringing your documentation. For some people, you have to find that documentation. Well, my parents have my birth certificate. I got to get to my parents. She doesn't know where she put it. All of a sudden, well, now you got to file for a new birth certificate. Or could you use your Social Security card? I don't know the answer to that. But you would think that there's got to be a way for us to appease everybody with one piece of legislation that clearly is not happening right now. So I don't know where this goes.
I think the other important thing to point out for context here is this is all being done in the name of we need to protect our elections from fraud. Let me just say this real clearly. There has never been any widespread fraud in our federal elections. Right. Even the Trump administration in 2017, as soon as he took office, he immediately put together a commission. I don't know if you remember this, but Chris Kobach, who is, I believe, now the Kansas State Attorney General, he is the guy who headed it up that was picked by the president to do this. They disbanded the commission because they couldn't find it. They couldn't find any.
Anything they did find was oftentimes what would happen is somebody would die and they would have voted early and then died, and then that vote is not supposed to count. That is one of the common things that does happen. But in terms of being able, after investigation, being able to find evidence of any, listen, they're going to find something, but the number is so insignificant. But the president claims that's not true, and therefore a lot of people who support him don't believe it, and that seems to be the world we're in right now. And when government comes forward and says we've investigated this and we can't find any mass fraud anywhere, we don't believe that as a country.
I mean, it is already federal law that only U.S. citizens are permitted to vote in federal and state elections.
Right.
Anyway, that's already a law. This is not a widespread thing that we've ever seen any non-citizen voting or fraud, for that matter. Even in states like Arizona, where they, over the 2020 election, where they, took control of the ballot boxes and the outcome of the ballots themselves. Excuse me. They still couldn't find any, and it wasn't. That was a Republican-controlled group that did it, and still couldn't find any fraud. So, this is a thing that we keep hearing. I think it's important for people to understand the context of what we're talking about here. This would also not allow students to, it would prohibit ID cards that were issued by colleges and universities. Students would not be able to use a student ID to show that at the polls to cast a ballot over 18, obviously. That would also not be allowed under the SAVE Act as well. There's a bunch of different things, and it's online. You can actually go read it anybody can, and break it down and see what it says.
The other big argument against it is we're fixing a problem that doesn't exist. When do we do that in the government? When do we fix a problem that does? It's like, I don't know that I don't think my pool is leaking, but I'm going to replace the liner. No matter how much it's going to cost me, I'm replacing the liner just in case it's leaking. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense, and that's really what we're doing here. Without any evidence of fraud, we're changing the way we do it. So, I don't know. It is really a crazy heated argument, and my guess is with the president doubling down, Tanya, it's going to continue to be that and even more so, a heated argument going forward.
Oh, I would count on it. I would count on hearing more about what he wants to do with the mail-in ballots as well, because that's all kind of part of this. It's all sort of sewn up together, the voting stuff.
All right, interesting stuff. We'll see where it goes, Tanya. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Tanya J. Powers from Fox News Radio. Anybody have a take on this? You want to get in? I actually was talking to somebody about it yesterday who said there is mass fraud. I know somebody at the DA's office. They did a whole investigation. There's a ton of mass fraud in Utica alone. Do I think there have been places where, you're getting proxy votes and you're getting, maybe somebody's going to a nursing home and helping people vote. Mm-hmm. But I think both sides do that sort of thing. I don't know what the legalities are. I've never done the signatures and all that stuff on the ground. But we just don't have any clear-cut evidence. There's a lot of anecdotal, but I don't know about clear-cut evidence that shows there's fraud. Enough to certainly change the outcome of an election.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here wondering, okay, I don't have a problem showing my driver's license.
Right.
I vote in the community I grew up in. People know me. People know my family. What do I have to go pee in a cup now just to cast a vote? I mean,
I wonder if everybody...
Do I have to bring a marriage license because that's the proof that I changed my name?
Does everyone have to come up with
something
re-register? I don't know what's coming with that. I don't know, but it is an argument, and it's going to get more heated as we go forward. And it does kind of lend to the possibility of saying, if someone loses, it opens that door to be able to say the election wasn't legitimate.
Well, and I also wonder if setting up this gameplay, whatever you want to call it, will motivate a lot of people to not vote, which is a dangerous step to take.
You certainly do kind of wonder. Okay, coming up next hour, we will have Jeremy Rosenthal on the Rosenthal Report. And the big topic is these Alexander brothers. They're the New York real estate brokers who've been convicted of, putting drugs in women's drinks, or is it sex trafficking? We're going to find out with Jeremy coming up in a little bit on that.
Yeah, I was, based on what I read, what the allegations were, it sounded like it was drugging these women and taking advantage of them, but then there are charges of sex trafficking. So, as you said, we'll talk to Jeremy about it coming up next hour.
And I also have whoever that was online saying, it's good to have you finally back in the studio and all these days off. Just letting you know, I'm going to have one of those days off tomorrow. A routine doctor's appointment that I have to participate in. I mean, I could decide not to do it, but that wouldn't be wise. So, but I will be here on Friday, and Manaski will be holding down the fort with a guest host tomorrow. Who's that guest host?
I'm working on it. I was going out of the box, and I had what I thought was an interesting guest possibility, but I was told last night that it wasn't going to happen, so that fell through. We're still working on it.
All right. I have some ideas for you, if you want. I got a break, though. We have news coming up top of the hour. We'll deal with Jeremy Rosenthal. Next hour, I will give away, or at least somebody, a chance to win Utica University Pioneers playoff tickets in the NCAA tournament for Saturday night. I have a pair of really good seats, and I think if they're on these are on the blue line. One of the blue lines.
Oh, nice.
So they're good seats, and you're right down close, and we're going to give somebody a chance to win those coming up next hour.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ROAD to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ROAD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ROAD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Start your savings at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Now through March 31st, get up to $170 back on a Firestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $70 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Get an additional $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your Tallman's Tire CFNA credit card. Don't wait. These offers end March 31st. Visit Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer, or online at tallmanstire.com.
Is your business the best at what you do? Then you should be a Central New York's Industry Ace. Our Industry Aces are made up of the best businesses in the region, and will help you tell your story to thousands of consumers in the Mohawk Valley. With a combination of on-air and online testimonial commercials, along with targeted social media ads that are guaranteed to reach the consumers you want to be talking to. And best of all, these messages are coming directly from you. Interested in learning more? Contact Megan Powers.
WIBX Utica Road, W295 Utica.
From the WB Tain Insurance Studios, your news talk leader since 1925. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now the latest from Fox News.
Iran keeps fighting back on day 12 of the war. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
It was another sleepless night here in Tel Aviv as air raid sirens blared across the city 4 separate times, sending people into bomb shelters. Many missiles intercepted overhead.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. Iran also, of course, targeted again.
As the Israelis and the Americans continue to degrade the Iranian regime and their ability to launch these types of attacks against Israel and regional Gulf countries. Some of the damage, not only around the capital of Tehran, but other areas. There is a concerted effort by the Americans and the Israelis to degrade Iran's ability to respond with attacks, including ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones.
Now, Iran has also been firing drones at neighboring countries that were shot down, and projectiles have hit a few cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz, a key oil shipping lane, setting them on fire. The U.S. has destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying boats. The price of oil is up this morning to about $85 a barrel. Now, an update on the Iran women's national soccer team and their dramatic trip to Australia.
6 players and 1 staff member had accepted offers of Australian visas after playing in a continental soccer tournament. There were fears for the team's safety after they refused to sing the Iranian anthem before one of their games. But one woman has decided to go home after all.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. Tornadoes have twisted areas apart in Indiana and the Lake Village area, and in Illinois, south of Chicago.
We can see what looks like a piece of a house or a building, and then there's also some twisted metal debris all strewn about.
Fox Weather's Katie Burns surveying what she can in the dark and hard-hit Kankakee.
Officials say at least 7 people were hurt when this tornado moved through last night. They don't believe anyone is missing, which is fantastic news.
In Georgia, a special House election to replace Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, who resigned Congress, has set up a runoff between Democrat Sean Harris and Republican Clay Fuller April 7th. America's listening to Fox News.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-884-1012 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-884-1012. That's 800-884-1012. What do you have to lose? Call 800-884-1012. Again, 800-884-1012.
How big a deal is artificial intelligence, or will it be? There's a new Fox News poll out on that.
This poll finds more than half, 53% of voters say AI will change how we live in the U.S. a lot. Only 35% say they find AI to be somewhat useful in their daily lives. 12% say it's very useful, while 29% say not at all. When it comes to the effect of artificial intelligence on our trust in news and social media, 44% say they're extremely concerned. 5% say they're not concerned at all about that. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
We'll get an update on inflation next hour, but it's all from before the war in Iran started, a gauge of consumer prices for February. Ahead of that, on Wall Street, stock futures are rising modestly after a mixed close yesterday. At the World Baseball Classic, Team USA is on the brink of elimination.
Judge swings and misses, and Italy has pulled off a stunner.
Italy beat the U.S. 8-6 on FS1, setting up a bigger game tonight. If Italy beats Mexico, then Italy and the U.S. advance to the quarterfinals. But if Mexico wins and scores 4 runs or less, the U.S. is out. In basketball, a game for the ages.
Bam Adebayo has entered the NBA record books. Adebayo scored the second most points ever in an NBA game, putting up 83 points in Miami's win over Washington Tuesday night. Adebayo passed the late, great Kobe Bryant, who had 81 points in 2006 and is now second only to Wilt Chamberlain, who had the legendary 100-point night in 1962. Bam made 20 of 43 shots from the field and knocked down 36 of 43 attempts from the charity stripe. His free throw makes and attempts both set NBA records for a game. I'm Joe Morgan, Fox News.
In the NFL, a big trade's been voided. Baltimore's backed out of a deal to acquire star defensive player Max Crosby from Las Vegas over medical concerns. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
We have mostly cloudy skies, 44 degrees. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time is 7:05. Officials in Herkimer County say a student at Jarvis Middle School was found with a firearm magazine and ammunition at the school on Tuesday. It happened later in the day. Police arrived at the school and secured the magazine and ammunition. School officials say there was no actual weapon and never any threat made against any staff or faculty. The names of the student involved is being withheld because of the age. Oneida County Executive Anthony Pacenti announcing the county launching 2 new public safety technology platforms in their 911 dispatch center, further modernizing operations and improving the county's ability to respond to emergencies and assist residents. Both of those systems, built by the public safety tech company Prepared, went live on March 10th and significantly expand the capabilities available to Oneida County's emergency communications specialists. That first platform introduced an AI-powered non-emergency call handling system, which is designed to assist with routine inquiries that do not require an immediate emergency response. Officials say the tech allows the dispatch center to quickly connect non-emergency calls to the appropriate resources while preserving critical personnel and phone capacity for emergency situations. 3 of 6 suspects allegedly involved in the stabbing and assault of an individual this weekend on Mohawk Street in Utica have been identified and now face charges. Utica police officials say the GIV unit and officers in the tactical unit had information about the location of 3 of those parties, and a vehicle stop was conducted, resulting in the arrest of Yusuf Madeh, Ilyas Shago of Utica, and Abdi Muhammad, I should say all from Utica, and each is charged with gang assault in the first degree. And Utica police also conducting a drug bust at a home on Cottage Place in the city. As a result of the investigation, police say there was a large quantity of cocaine located inside the residence. Brandon Dobrinsky, Donna Dreesey, and Brooke Edwards, all of Utica, face charges of criminal possession of a controlled substance and related drug possession charges. In Hamilton, college officials are notifying everyone that there will be a campus emergency siren test coming up on Thursday. It'll happen around 11:15 tomorrow. Officials say the test should not take more than 2 minutes, and any activation of the siren in advance of or after 11:15 tomorrow should be treated as an actual emergency. Anyone with questions should contact campus safety. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM News Time, 7:08. Here is your Weather Center forecast.
Warm day today, but big changes on the way. And in between, maybe some flooding with a flood watch to this afternoon and through tomorrow afternoon and evening. As for ice jam flooding, some flooding from melting snow possible in some spots of low-lying areas and also from some of the rain coming in. So west to east this afternoon, we'll start to see showers, thunderstorms, 67. Tonight, rain showers, eventually some snow and sleet mixing in as we fall to near freezing by morning. Maybe some isolated slick areas tomorrow and some passing showers of rain and snow, maybe a little sleet mixing in. A high only 33 with a gusty breeze making it feel colder. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, cloudy skies, 45 degrees at 7:09. All right, a big splash in the NFL is not a splash anymore. Max Crosby is staying with the Raiders, at least for now, after the Ravens backed out of the trade. Baltimore was reportedly set to send a 26 and 27 first-round pick in return for the five-time Pro Bowler, but according to ESPN, the Ravens had some medical concerns. Crosby had 10 sacks this past season. He has a total of 69 and a half sacks in his 7 years in the league. The Jets reacquiring a former quarterback. They've picked up Geno Smith in a trade with the Raiders. The Jets also receiving a 7th-round pick in this year's draft in exchange for a 6th-round pick. Smith rejoins the Jets after being selected with the 39th overall pick in 2013. Pretty historic night in the NBA last night. Bam Adebayo entered the NBA record books. 83 points in Miami's 150-129 win over the Wizards on Tuesday. 150 points. It's like an all-star game. It's the second most points scored in a single game behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100, scored back in 1962. Adebayo was 20 of 43 from the field and 36 of 43 from the free throw line. Holy cow. Luka Doncic is in a custody battle for his daughters. Team Italy takes down the U.S. in the World Baseball Classic 8-6, the final. Italy now 3-0, USA 2-1. There's a chance that if Mexico wins today, it could knock the U.S. out of the World Baseball Classic. Well, that's all I got.
Did they lose to Italy?
Yeah, 8-6 was the final. Syracuse basketball lost. We discussed last hour. I don't know. There's not a ton to talk about there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see who the coach is going to be. Well, they got to fire the person first, though, right? They got to fire Autry. So we'll see what happens. Mike this morning says, a nice lottery win, $10. You spent $20 to win 10.
Yeah.
He's apparently hacked into my account. Carmelo is suffering from an upper body injury as well. The SU team is giving him a headache. I think that is true. I mean, you watch him on the court side. He's coaching from the seats.
He really is.
He can't be happy with what's happening.
Yeah, if you watch, he is coaching from the stands.
Mike, why is it when I hear Trump talking so much about winning in Iran that I picture Charlie Sheen talking? Perhaps the president has gotten into the tiger's blood. It is like over the top. We are astoundingly succeeding. The question is, can we beat history? Because normally in history, just bombing a country does not really accomplish all of the goals that it looks like we want to accomplish in this. Big Honey this morning with voter ID. In 2020 through 2024, we led millions and millions of undocumented humans. Do you think it's a good idea to keep them from voting, or is that what Democrats want? First of all, you assume if they do vote that they're going to all vote Democrat. I would tell you I don't believe that necessarily is true. And then there are already so many things in place. You remember you have Republicans and Democrats who fight over every vote, especially when it comes to the mail-in votes at the end, when you have those mail-in votes. Where you won't see both parties at the Board of Elections fighting and arguing is if it's a blowout. And it doesn't really matter. It's not worth going through all the fighting. But if it's close, you're going to see them fight to kick. I mean, somebody doesn't sign their signature properly, that vote's going to get kicked out. There, at the very least, one member in that. As they go over vote by vote, somebody's saying, I don't want that vote to count. And then they fight over it. That's what's done inside the Board of Elections. If there's any abnormality, a vote gets kicked out. And it won't count.
The way you're describing it is that people know who the candidate's voting for. Or who the individual is voting for. Let me just tell you,
if you're in
I've seen that with petitions, but that's how they do it on elections? Like if you had an absentee, they can see Bill Keeler voted for this one, so the other party would try to kick you out?
No. Don't you remember, you're not necessarily supposed to see who has voted what. You're not supposed to talk about it. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to an absentee ballot that comes in, and that absentee ballot, now we do it differently now. So if all of a sudden your vote, you didn't fill in the bubble properly, there's going to be somebody that's going to argue that ballot should be kicked out. This should be eliminated. But then when you get to the write-in ballots, and all of them come in, that's when you have certain ballots that will be set aside, and some of those won't count. That's just the way that it's done. And if there's something that looks fraudulent, you're going to have somebody on one side or both sides saying that vote shouldn't count. It doesn't look right. That's the system that we have in every board, every county in America. And at the Board of Elections is the system that we have used for a long, long time. So take it for what it is. But I think that Big Honey, I could be wrong. I think he's for voter ID. I could be wrong.
I think he absolutely is.
I think you're right. Any others that you have? And
Mike's got do you want to hear what Mike's got to say?
Yeah.
Mike and Clinton. So I truly did stop listening. There's three sides to every argument. I think he's talking about you here. He seems to think anybody who doesn't think like he thinks is an idiot.
Well,
I love the guy, but sometimes he goes too far.
Yeah.
You know Mike?
Oh, well, I don't. But listen, Mike
loves you.
Mike, suck it up, man. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. And you may not agree with those opinions. I understand it. I'm responding to what people are saying. That's all. Giving you my take. Kind of a radio thing. It's kind of like what I do for a living. Kind of. And let me break.
He says, just get something in place, then it's equal playing field for all.
Okay. That is his opinion. Thanks, Mike. Jeremy Rosenthal coming up. This morning, this Alexander Brothers case. These two top big real estate brokers convicted of, is it sex trafficking? Is it, I don't know, putting a pill in somebody's drink? What would that be called? Drugging somebody.
Date rape?
Date rape for sex? I don't know what it is. It's not good. We'll speak to Jeremy Rosenthal on that coming right up. Also later on in the hour, Hobica's free money question of the day. Utica Mayor Mike Galimi on the budget and some other big topics that are out there. We'll get it all coming up at WIBX.
Embarrassed by ugly yellow toe fungus? Living with toe fungus it's embarrassing. I was afraid to take my socks off. I hid my yellow and crumbly toes from everybody.
Introducing Crystal Flush. Crystal Flush is the only FDA-registered 2-in-1 home treatment that attacks your toe fungus from both the inside and out. Crystal Flush's new and different combination system knocks out toe fungus for good. Guaranteed.
Crystal Flush is different. After just a few weeks, my fungus was gone. I mean, 100% disappeared. Crystal Flush was the only thing that ever worked. So if you're skeptical because you tried a bunch of other stuff, Crystal Flush is different. This is a game changer.
Crystal Flush is now available without a prescription, but it is not available in stores. Get your risk-free supply today. Go to crystalflush.com. That's CRYSTAL flush.com. Stop being embarrassed by ugly yellow toenails. Go to crystalflush.com or call 800-204-4484.
Don't rely on a standard off-the-shelf security system. When it comes to protecting your home, there's a big difference between plug and play and a professionally designed system. At CML Security, security is personal. Their skilled technicians meet with you one-on-one, walk your property, and design a custom system built around your family's needs. From security cameras, intrusion systems, and smart home features, they can also add a level of fire protection to their intrusion systems. They install commercial-grade equipment and provide a warranty on systems that they install. Call CML Security at 315-866-5845 today to schedule your in-home consultation. That's 315-866-5845 or visit cmlsecurity.net. Based in Herkimer, they serve the central New York area. CML Security. Call 315-866-5845. Personalized protection your family can trust.
Possibility starts with the right financial solutions. From Americu Credit Union. Get started today at americu.org/possibility.
Don't overpay for your next mattress. Mattress Express is upstate New York's largest specialty bedding retailer. Bring in any locally advertised price on a brand we carry. We will beat the price. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS or go to mattressexpressny.com.
It's hard to know what to do when you lose a loved one. You need someone you can trust to help you navigate all the options. Mohawk Valley Monuments has been providing comfort and delivering quality memorials in our community for over 95 years. Mohawk Valley Monuments has experience with all the local cemeteries, from simple grave markings to intricate family mausoleums. For personalized service, call us today at 315-724-7629 or visit us at mohawkvalleymonuments.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ROAD to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ROAD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ROAD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
If you've missed the Kim Commando Show, you've missed a lot.
Yeah, they forced Claude to unlearn all the information it got from the pirated technology.
And it's a $1.5 billion landmark settlement. A reader from the current newsletter sent me a note. He put his name in. He made $6,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not bad for getting a free newsletter.
America's digital goddess.
Kim Commando.
Saturday mornings at 10 on WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right. Any other comments on voter ID? Do we want to get into that fight? Do we want to bring Jeremy Rosenthal into that fight, that argument? It's 7:21. Time for the Rosenthal Report. And Jeremy Rosenthal on the line right now. Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning. What are you bringing me into?
Well, do you want to get into the voter ID issue?
No.
No. Okay, good. You know why?
No, I can't. No. You know what? I don't refuse combat missions. So you can throw at me whatever you need. That's why I'm here. I'm just. It's early here, and and I haven't had a full cup of coffee. But yeah, what's up? What's up?
Well, I mean, it's this battle is, the belief is that there's a certain group of people that will be disincentivized when it comes to needing to make trips, maybe a second trip for another ID. There are those who will not vote because of the ID process. On the other hand, you have the person that says, well, I got to have an ID to buy a 6-pack of beer. Give me a break.
Sure.
So your thoughts on that?
Well, okay. So I took in law school, I took a civil rights course, which I loved. It was a fascinating course. And most of the laws, really sort of, you're talking about your 1960s laws, 1950s. And sort of the interpretation is you look at a lot of things in the aggregate. And I'll tell you this, I got to work, it's been 6 or 7 years, but I got to work as a poll watcher at one point. And it is really fascinating. Because what you get to see, and by the way, and it was a legal, it's a legal group where it's like, call us if they're giving you any crap, right? And we'll make sure that you can go vote, and nonpartisan. And what you see is, first off, the only time anybody flips out is when, and we had several calls throughout the state of Texas that were exactly like this. People would spill coffee on voting machines, and it makes everybody flip out and call the hotline. Okay, so that's the real problem. Let's be clear. But when it comes to this issue, what you see when you see voting, you see 500 people come into a place, and it's the people that are on the margins. It's the guy who comes in with 4 phone bills and 3 electric bills because he's moved 4 times because he's been unemployed. That's the guy that gets bounced. And probably that's the guy who needs more than anything to vote. So you're looking, anytime you're looking at the aggregate, and going back to these civil rights cases, you're always looking for those people that are on the margins that can get affected disproportionately. Now, does this mean that, well, you shouldn't be afraid of showing up, but just just because you think you might get bounced? Is that the thing? And there's a lot of, I think, good arguments to suggest that, look, there does need to be a standard. I think that's fine too. My thought is that, look, there are very few rights that are as sacred as the right to vote. I tend to err on the side of inclusiveness, and I think in most instances, I think we do that. And look, if we want to make voting impossible, America's been through that phase too, right? Where that's happened. And, the fact is usually the truth is somewhere in the middle.
If there wasn't a history, we probably wouldn't be arguing about this, but there really is a history of voter suppression. And the other thing is, I don't know if you've been following what's been going on in America in the last year with ICE, but if you're a married woman who doesn't drive, your husband is here on a visa, and you're worried about showing up at a polling place because ICE might be there, and you got to show an ID, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You ain't voting. You're not going.
It can be intimidating. And I think a lot of us, I think a lot of people think, well, just because I'm not intimidated or I don't have these problems, that you're just stupid for thinking that way if you have those problems. But I think that's a very, very real concern for somebody, and you can't have a warrant roundup, right, at a polling location, because I'm not sure if I have a warrant or not. Is going to keep me from voting, and that's going to affect. That's certainly going to affect people. And don't have warrants. Don't be a criminal. Okay, great, thanks. I can. I do think that in the aggregate, I'm of the mindset that hurts.
There's Jeremy's opinion, legal opinion.
Jeremy, yes. Well, yes, it's
based on
Jeremy's opinion. Sure,
fair enough. Okay,
nothing more.
Now, on this latest issue of the three brothers in New York, the real estate brokers, the women they're saying this was all consensual. The women are saying we might have been drugged. So what's going on here? And by the way, they could spend the rest of their lives in jail, right?
Yes, they're going to do 15 minimum as it stands right now. So all three of the Alexander brothers they were all convicted. That would be Oren, Tal, and Alon. These are your high dollar, ritzy real estate moguls, and a very, I think anybody who watched or observed these trials has a hard time saying that these guys are anything other than extremely misguided. There were instances where, look, and there's been, if you're a high dollar real estate guy, and you're going to party on your yacht, and you're going to, have exclusive, things where you're going to take your jet and you're going to fly to different venues. Look, you're going to get a certain amount of action just by doing that.
Yes.
Okay. They're drugging people, and they're texting each other about drugging people, and they're bragging, and they actually had a text thread amongst the three of them that was kind of very sardonic and said, "Is it rape?" If
wow.
And the jury answered their question. It was. So
boy, doesn't it show you how your phone can so be used against you today?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, no, absolutely. The digital trail here was something that certainly went back to bite them. And it's 21st century. It's 21st century law enforcement, right? They're gonna make every effort to get into your device, into your phone, and when you have three people on your thread, somebody's gonna have it, right? Somebody's gonna have it somewhere, and it's gonna sting.
What are you teaching? What are we teaching our kids? If she is so drunk that she can't keep her eyes open, that is not the time to take advantage. Right? I mean, how do we direct our kids as they get into the age where stuff like this happens?
I
be a decent human.
I think that these lessons are sort of timeless, and that is just respect for other people. And not only that, I mean, for me, look, another one of, there's legal opinions, there's the learned, attorney Rosenthal opinions, and then there's Jeremy's opinions, right? Jeremy's opinion is that, what's the, why, what's the attraction there, and I think that that's a timeless lesson, that has nothing to do with digital trails or cell phone trails or things like that. That's not a conquest. It's not a victory. And in certain instances, it can, it's obviously criminal. There are cases that I've seen where, somebody's passed out and another person videotapes it, and hey, check out, let's do this to this person. And, that raises just a lot of other conundrum questions, which is, if it comes to the surface, I mean, what do you do at that point? You're law enforcement, and how do you go and tell the victim, hey, we got evidence, and you actually don't know that this happened to you, but this actually happened to you. That's got to certainly be something that is I can't imagine what that does to somebody's psyche.
And this is more than somebody getting intoxicated and being taken advantage of. I mean, they are specifically drugging these women. It's not like I want extra glass of wine. They're putting something in there to incapacitate her.
And they're texting each other about the fact that they're and actually calling them party favors. So
there's one line in here that I'm reading. This was the woman who was on one of the real estate shows. She was on a reality TV show. She alleges that she was assaulted And in an interaction with one of the brothers, she said, "I don't want to have sex with you," and he said, "Ha, you already did." Wow, she had no idea.
It's predatory, yeah. And if you want to juxtapose this from a legal standpoint, you look at P. Diddy, right? Because a lot of these there's a lot of overlap here, and the Alexander brothers had a very talented group of defense lawyers with them. You can say, so you can't say that, well, P. Diddy had good lawyers and you didn't. Right. No, P. Diddy just wasn't as much of an a-hole is probably the way to put it. Now, P. Diddy's still going to be in prison, for all we know, they're going to the same place. Yep. But yeah, these guys are looking at 15 years mandatory minimum with a cap of a life sentence. Wow. And you don't see one thing that you don't see a lot of in federal court. You don't see a lot of crimes where you have victims with this degree of passion. And that's just a way of saying that in federal court, you see a lot of tax evasion. You see a lot of, you see a lot of real estate fraud. You see a lot of healthcare fraud and Medicaid fraud and or Social Security fraud. And in those instances, the federal government's not going to get up there and you're not going to see an agent take the stand and cry and say, my life will never be the same.
Right.
So that type of testimony is certainly going to hit harder, I think, in a case like this.
I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but I mean, how often do you see some guy who if he didn't have the yacht and the jet and all the money, that you just kind of feel like he would never be with that girl. So my guess is they probably, based on everything they were offering, would have been very successful in the dating world. Why did you need to go down this road, right?
Yeah, that exactly. I mean, these guys had so many things going for them, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you would think that there's a bunch of guys that are just like him, or just like them, that actually are probably fine, and maybe they're just jerks to women, which is I mean, that's not criminal, I don't think, but but yes, that's why I say that what I'm curious to hear, and maybe we'll hear something about this in the punishment portion of this case, is where did the wiring go wrong with the three of these? Was it something during their upbringing? Because clearly their views are misguided, is probably the nicest way to say it.
And they're all brothers. The three of them are brothers, so they're all of the same. My guess is that had they not made all the money, they probably still would have been drugging girls for sex.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Or into some other
something bad
perversion. Because this just, you don't wake up in the morning and feel that the opposite gender is just an object that you can do this to.
Very interesting. All over the place with some good stuff today, Jeremy. We appreciate your insight. We'll do it again soon. Thank you so much.
And yes, now that the Alexander brothers are convicted felons, they will not be allowed to vote.
They can't vote.
ID or not.
That's a good point. Very good full circle moment right there. All right, good stuff. Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, bye.
Jeremy Rosenthal in the Rosenthal Report. All right, quick break. Manaski updates the news. Then we'll do Hobica's free money question of the day and give you a chance to win $200 from Hobica and a chance at, Pioneers tickets. Utica University takes on Williams College Saturday night at the Adirondack Bank Center. We have tickets for that game, and we'll give you a chance coming right up at WIBX.
Start your savings at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Now through March 31st, get up to $180 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your Tallman's Tire CFNA credit card. Don't wait. These offers end March 31st. Visit Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer, or online at tallmanstire.com.
Hurt in a car? Call William Attar. 315-444-4444. We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now at your local GNC.
Is your business the best at what you do? Then you should be a Central New York's Industry Ace. Our Industry Aces are made up of the best businesses in the region, and will help you tell your story to thousands of consumers in the Mohawk Valley. With a combination of on-air and online testimonial commercials, along with targeted social media ads that are guaranteed to reach the consumers you want to be talking to. And best of all, these messages are coming directly from you. Interested in learning more? Contact Megan Powers at 315-768-9500.
Possibility starts with the right financial solutions from AmeriQ Credit Union. Get started today at ameriq.org/possibility.
We have cloudy skies, 45 degrees. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 7:38. The Pentagon saying the U.S. military has destroyed at least 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels as Operation Epic Fury continues. President Trump posting about some of the attacks yesterday on Truth Social, saying the inactive mine-laying boats and or ships had been hit and completely destroyed. This follows reports that Iran was laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz to disrupt oil moving through the region's key choke point. About 1/5 of the world's crude oil passes through the strait. Well, oil prices may have pulled back from 4-year highs, but the price of gas is still creeping upward. AAA reports the national average for a gallon of regular gas jumped overnight to $3.57 a gallon. 1 week ago, the national average was $3.19. Voters in Northwest Georgia have spoken, and the race to fill former Georgia GOP Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat is now headed for a runoff election. Democrat Sean Harris and Republican Clay Fuller emerged atop a crowded field of 22 candidates. Former Republican State Senator Colton Moore came in a distant third. He conceded last night. Neither Fuller or Harris secured a 50% majority, so the winner of Georgia's 14th congressional district seat will be decided in a runoff set for April 7th. The White House says President Trump will travel to Ohio and Kentucky today. In Ohio, he will visit pharmaceutical and biotech company Thermo Fisher Scientific to discuss his new drug prescription website, Trump RX. He'll be addressing the ongoing affordability issue during his stop in Kentucky. Elon Musk, still the richest person on the planet. Forbes is out with its list of the wealthiest people in 2026. Once again, the Tesla and SpaceX CEO tops the list with an estimated fortune of $839 billion. And that's before this $1 trillion deal that he's going to
Yeah.
And Bam Adebayo enters the NBA history books. The Miami Heat center scored 83 last night as Miami won 150-129 over the Wizards. It's the second most points ever scored in a single game, behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100 scored back in 1962. Laker legend Kobe Bryant is the only other player to reach 80 or more in a game. He scored 81 during his playing career. Amazing. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 7:41. Here is your Weather Center forecast.
Warm day today, but big changes on the way. And in between, maybe some flooding with a flood watch to this afternoon and through tomorrow afternoon and evening. As for ice jam flooding, some flooding from melting snow possible in some spots of low-lying areas, and also from some of the rain coming in. So west to east this afternoon, we'll start to see showers, thunderstorms, 67. Tonight, rain showers, eventually some snow and sleet mixing in as we fall to near freezing by morning. Maybe some isolated slick areas tomorrow, and some passing showers of rain and snow, maybe a little sleet mixing in. A high only 33 with a gusty breeze making it feel colder. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, clouds 44 at 742.
All right, Davey, for $200, let's do Habaika's free money question of the day, plus a chance at Pioneers tickets. There'll be two different questions for this one, and you're looking for caller number what?
Could I just say a quick hello to a few?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't do that here.
All right.
I believe that's an FCC violation.
Well,
personal hellos, personal messages. I mean, Jeff, this new FCC commissioner is a toughie.
Smitty, go ahead.
Well, they
who did you want to say to that we won't allow you to say?
Well, they listen every day.
Okay.
And they ran into my mom last week in Rome, and they're very, very close friends of my grandparents.
Oh.
They lived up where we were. And
yeah.
I like to say hello to Mr. and Mrs. Bruce Dudley. They always listen to Dudley. They always
Dudley. Bruce, Mr. and Mrs. Bruce Dudley.
Yes, they listen.
I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to do that.
They listen to you all the time. They love the show. And
Mr. and Mrs. Dudley, our
just
apologies.
Good morning.
There's a new FCC commissioner, and he's really taking care of the rules. And the FCC rule is no Avon at the front door, Davey.
Boy, I like that. It's an old style doorbell.
There's no personal messages that can be sent out on radio, broadcast radio. So, Mr. and Mrs. Dudley, the answer is, I'm sorry, we cannot say hello to you.
Yes, we'd like to wish you a good morning, but we can't.
We can't do it. What, by the way, what caller number did he want?
No idea.
Yeah.
I don't think he got that far.
Say?
No.
Are you doing the public market? It's next week.
This is an off weekend.
It's an off weekend. Yep. Okay. Davey, what caller number? I think you ever told us.
Sorry about that. I had to go get the door.
Yeah. Avon?
No, it was the mayor.
Oh, the mayor. Okay. Good.
7.
We're going with caller number 7 for all of you.
I thought maybe you guys would have picked the call.
No, I mean, we will never overstep our boundaries here. 315-736-0186. Your chance at $200 plus Pioneers tickets for Saturday night. Caller 7 right now at WIBX.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Are you sick of being just a number or doing a mindless job? Become a craftsman in a trade. Become an IBEW electrician. The IBEW and the Electrician Training Alliance will give you all the tools necessary at their state-of-the-art training facility. Earn as you learn. Paid training while you get your certification. What are you waiting for? Become an IBEW Local 43 electrician. Call or go online today to learn more. Find your career at IBEW and let the Electrician Training Alliance light up your future.
80 years ago in Little Falls, a dream was built, one board at a time. Through hard work, honesty, and a commitment to doing things the right way, that dream became 3 generations strong. A lot has changed over the past 8 decades, but our promise remains the same. Quality materials and personal service you can count on. Thank you to our customers for 80 incredible years. Little Falls Lumber, built on trust since day one, and we look forward to serving you in the future.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
By the way, the mayor, we introduced a new policy here at the studio. You have to show your ID before you're allowed into the studio. We appreciate you showing us your ID. Thank you. We're all good. We're fighting the voter ID fight. That'll keep everybody going for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to do Hobica's free money question of the day, where we do not require an ID whatsoever in order to play. It's from the...
To pick up your prize, you have to have one.
They do make you show an ID. Yeah. Well, there you go.
If it's money, not like, if you won, the car wash we do.
The beauty of the free money question is they don't have to come and pick it up. You send it right to them. Yeah. Okay. This is from the Hobica Law Firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobica.
Smitty would know that. Do they have to show ID? Pick up tick? Yes, they do.
315-736-0186 is the number that we ask you to call. And then Hobica gives you a chance to answer the question. For the Hobica Law Firm, if you needed to call them for your legal needs, you would call 315-724-1600. Sam is on the line right now. Good morning, Sam, in Frankfort, New York. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
You surprised me. I expected a Samuel versus a Samantha. Are you Samantha?
I am Samantha.
Good morning, Bill.
Oh.
Shut up.
Maybe Sam's on the line, too.
You better shut up in there. All right, so now we got... Okay, at least you have two minds working on this. I like it. So here we go. Are you guys interested in playing for the Pioneers tickets Saturday night if given the opportunity?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, good. All right, so we're going to start with the $200. Here we go. Here is your question. You'll have 7 seconds to answer, both of you. And here is your question. If you study animology, what are you studying? Ready, go.
The study of animals?
The study of animals. I try to put the emphasis on animology. Animology. Any idea with that? How about you, Beth? You're usually good at these things.
I would think there's some kind of like the cartoon, the anime thing.
Animation, you say?
It's an E. It's A-N-E-mology. Animology. It's the study of
anemones?
wind. It's the study of wind. Believe it or not. Yeah.
Really?
It's like a weather thing.
Oh, like an anemometer.
Yes.
Oh.
That's exactly where it comes from.
Man, until you said wind, I had no clue.
Oh, the big light bulb just went on in the studio.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. Okay, well, what are you going to do? Now, we will give you the movie passes to the... can you hand me that there? I got to put that up where I can read it. And it's always down. Glenwood Movieplex and Rome Cinema 8. We'll give you tickets to there, and you can go to the movies. Oh, boy. And I have great seats, a pair of great seats for Saturday night at the Adirondack Bank Center as the Pioneers take on, who are they playing?
Williams.
Williams in the first round of the NCAA tournament. All right, here is your question. Ready to go?
Yes.
Which Major League Baseball player holds the record for the most World Series wins? Ready, go.
Babe Ruth?
Close. Try again. I just say close because it's in that era. The answer was Yogi Berra.
It was. That's the one I had. I never knew he was right. I'm surprised.
Well, why don't I give you? I think I can give you one more if you guys are willing.
It was team. It was a different era, though, right? Wasn't Yogi more like...
Well, it's definitely a different era.
Yeah.
By far. You think of Yogi Berra being around, well, he was there in the 50s and 60s, right?
He's always a Yankee.
You know, it's funny. A lot of people do put him in like the same time frame, but he's definitely not.
No, like way back. Yeah. Okay. I love this question. I'm going to throw it at you. I hope you guys know the novelty, the horrific novelty of it. It's a terrible question, actually. And here it is.
Oh, God. Okay.
In the 1970s era, there was a weight loss candy that failed because it had the same name as a horrible disease. What was the name of the weight loss candy? Ready, go. Yeah, he knows it. It's okay.
Don't tell him to shut up now. He's got the right answer.
I am ashamed of asking that question, but what are you going to do? That's
AIDS with a Y.
Yeah. New AIDS candy. It'll help you lose weight.
Why would they do that?
Well, it was before.
Oh, was it?
It was
before. Oh, okay. I thought
it was in the 70s.
Okay, that was
50 years ago.
Even though I was born in the last century, that was before my time.
And for anybody who wonders, the minute the disease became big, the candy was gone. Wow. I'm assuming they just gave it another name. So, all right, listen, I've had taken up enough of your time. Stand by. I'm going to give you to Davey. You will get the movie passes plus tickets for Saturday night, okay?
Lovely. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Listen, I still owe you mellow cups. I'll come through though.
Oh, we do like mellow cups.
Oh man, those are the best.
We do. All right, you guys stand by, and Davey, what do you? 2 tickets, Davey. 2. A pair of tickets. All right.
By the way, they are now on sale. You can win them here, but they are also now on sale through Empire State Ticks.
Okay, they're all on sale. In studio right now is Mayor Mike Galimi of the city of Utica. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. All I'm thinking about is Mallow cups right now. Though,
I do like the Mallow cup. Yeah,
Candies.
That and the Chunky Bar, which you can't find in a lot of places.
That's funny.
anymore.
Like when you say one candy, you think of another. When they said Mallow cup, I thought
you call
Sky
it Mallow.
Bar.
You call it Mallow.
I guess
cup.
I do. Mallow cup.
Yeah.
What do you
Mallow.
call it? Mallow? Oh,
That's
okay.
what I always called it. Mallow. MALLOW.
Kind of a potato thing, I think.
How do you say milk?
Forget Reese's or Reese's.
Milk. Yeah, I say milk.
You don't say milk.
Reese's.
Right, but I have a friend who does and just like always goes after me for saying milk.
Yes,
I'm like,
I know.
I don't understand.
Oh,
that.
milk or milk?
Milk.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Apparently, some
I or E.
people spell it with an E. Yeah.
All right. I want to bring
phonetically, yes.
I know there's some things that you want to talk about. Can I start with some
I
things?
think like 2 weeks ago, you guys wanted me to come on about the budget, and
Yeah.
it's been just a chaotic
It
2
has.
weeks of mornings and rides and everything
Well,
else.
we'll
So
get
here
into
we
that,
are.
but I want to.
So whatever you want to talk
I
about,
want to
I'm
bring
in.
what
I've
think.
got 2 IDs in case you need to check away.
Okay, good.
I brought
Thank
2
you.
on purpose.
That is nice.
Yeah, so-
Yes. Do you have your fake ID from college?
I don't
That
actually.
could
I
help.
never had a fake ID.
All right, listen to me. There's a problem in Utica, and I realize this may not be every problem in Utica is the mayor's
Well, there's
problem.
thousands of problems, so I'm trying to
I know.
like figure out what you're going to say.
But if it's a Utica problem, it's your problem.
Okay.
So I want to bring this up, and I don't know how this gets fixed, but there is, because we were just talking yesterday about the ER at Wynn, and it is so much more efficient now. It's really incredible, and it's larger than it ever was.
Right.
This is the thing that is really crazy to me. But apparently there are so many people right now that are in the hospital that there is, you know where I'm going, it's the ambulance backup. To the point where yesterday, I might have been listening on the scanner and hearing the frustration of there was a stroke victim who they could not get an ambulance for this person. I wanted to say, of course, on the scanner you can't talk back, but I wanted to just put them in a vehicle and drive that person to the hospital. Right. But the ambulances were backed up 14 deep.
Yes.
With keeping patients because they couldn't bring the patients in.
Correct.
How do we
It's called
solve?
turnover.
How do we solve this problem?
So I don't have a solution for it. Chief Ingersoll and I actually before yesterday.
I'm sure you've talked about this problem.
Well, it's not just that. Before yesterday, it was almost like we couldn't believe yesterday happened after the conversations we were having. We were speaking to the hospital specifically about this.
And they told us yesterday they have made changes in the last 2 weeks to alleviate this problem.
So let's just talk about reality for a second, right? A couple weeks ago, it was 1:30 in the morning. I had to bring my wife to the emergency room. It was empty. 2 days later, it was 14 deep, right? And it wasn't too. I don't know what the numbers were 2 days after that, but like yesterday, right? But this is a problem Chief Ingersoll and I talk about frequently. We track our turnover times, and we keep trying to work with the hospital to ask, like, what are we doing to try and fix this? Because the frank conversation that we had, I just want to say, so the chief and I were speaking, this is before yesterday.
Yeah.
And then literally a day later, we're like, I can't believe this is happening to this level. To even outside ambulance services. And in
this case, they were trying to find an ambulance from Herkimer County. Now,
correct.
It's a stroke victim. So you're going to wait 25 minutes for somebody to come in from Herkimer. The damage is done.
Well, so the safety is what we're concerned with the most.
Yeah.
The second thing is the reason we were talking about this is that letter came out a couple days prior as well. I think it's from Resimco. I think it's RESMCO. I can't remember the acronym.
Yeah.
It's the Oneida, Herkimer, Madison County, like EMS Coalition, et cetera. I can't remember the actual committee. I read the letter that went out. And then the news did some reporting on the fact that Chief Ingersoll and I were at a council meeting for the budget, letting the council know that while we are projecting our EMS numbers to go up revenue-wise, we're now starting to question that because our revenue numbers are flatlining and potentially going to start going down as well.
Because you're stabilized waiting in line.
Right. Now, that is primarily a safety issue. We want to be able to make sure there's ambulances in service. So what Chief Ingersoll, and I'm just going to be completely open about this conversation because we are literally talking about it back and forth, just soapboxing, so that we can help also the hospital because the thing is we all need to work together to fix this. Everyone can yell at the wind and say, what are you doing? But if we don't figure out the problem, that is an issue. So Chief and I were talking and I'm like, listen, we all knew there might be some hiccups going from 2 emergency rooms to 1, but we didn't anticipate it would be this severe.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something else going on. So is it? So we're starting to look at the type of calls. Is it because more calls are ALS versus BLS, or is it not being, filtered in the right way? We're trying to analyze it from our end outside the hospital because we stop at the door, right? Basically.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be as open with the hospital as possible, saying, listen. I literally had a conversation with the hospital yesterday where I said, listen, we do not want to be adversarial at all. We want to figure out what this is. Tell us what you're dealing with on the inside so we can maybe help with what
is it a lack of
suggesting something.
Is it a lack of space? Is it a lack of physicians? Is it what's the problem?
Listen, I'm not MVHS.
Yeah.
Right. But it's clear turnover times have been our issue. On any given day, we might go from 20 minutes, patients handed over, ambulance leaves, to sitting there for 3 hours.
Yeah,
and that's the issue now. Yeah. So escalate that into why that's an issue.
Stand by. I want you to stand by if you can, and let me go through the news cycle, and then if you're good with it, you hang with us on the other side.
Absolutely.
There's certainly a lot to.
I do have some solution, that I want to say, but I don't want to put that on MVHS. Right. They're the ones who have to come forward with that.
Stand by. News is next.
WIBX Utica Road, W295 Utica.
From the WB Tain Insurance Studios, your news talk leader since 1925. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now the latest from Fox News.
Another warning to Iran. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. From President Trump as the U.S. keeps targeting Iranian boats laying mines in a key shipping lane, destroying 16 so far.
This comes as the Wall Street Journal reports less than 10 mines have been laid in the Strait of Hormuz, this critical oil passage where 20% of the world's oil passes through. President Trump overnight in a post on Truth Social threatened the regime if they do lay these mines in this critical thoroughfare.
Iran's also targeted cargo ships in that strait, hitting at least 3, setting them on fire, also sending drones into Gulf countries shot down by Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. And Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv also reports Iran's targeted Israel again, too.
New interceptions took place overnight over the heart of Tel Aviv, sending hundreds of thousands into bomb shelters 4 separate times. There is a significant amount of damage in Iran, though, as these U.S. and Israeli strikes continue, going after not only these launching positions, but also IRGC positions and other leadership just outside the capital of Tehran.
And there are several reports that Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, was wounded in his legs, the New York Times says, at the start of the war, around the same time his father, the ex-supreme leader, was killed. Iran's national women's soccer team is making its way home with 6 fewer members after a controversial trip to a tournament in Australia where the women refused to sing their national anthem before a game, angering Iran.
Australian federal police removed the 5 players to a safe location where they were granted humanitarian visas. A 6th player and a team staffer also decided to stay in Australia, but one of those women spoke to her teammates and decided to return home instead.
Fox's Brian Yennis. There's tornado damage in 2 states and casualties.
We know 2 people now confirmed dead in Indiana from the severe storms. The tornado that hit there, likely the same tornado that hit this town in Illinois. It's about 22 miles away from us.
Fox Weather's Katie Byrne in Kankakee. America's listening to Fox News.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-884-1012 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-884-1012. That's 800-884-1012. What do you have to lose? Call 800-884-1012. Again, 800-884-1012.
Well, as the war with Iran rages a 12th day, the price of oil is up $3, back to $86 a barrel. Monday, it spiked over $100. As for gas, another 4-cent increase. The price at the pump is up 59 cents since the conflict started. Later this hour, we will get a pre-war inflation update on consumer prices last month. President Trump will hit the road today to focus on the economy. He'll visit a pharmaceutical company near Cincinnati, Ohio, and a packaging facility in northern Kentucky.
2 different things on the agenda. First, the effort to spotlight the administration's efforts to lower prescription drug costs. And the president's also going to examine where the U.S. economy stands 1 year into his second term.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. That Trump trip to Kentucky is in the district of a Republican congressman he does not like, Thomas Massie. The president is backing a challenger hoping to defeat Massie in the GOP primary. In Georgia, there was a special House election to replace another Republican whose relationship with the president soured, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She resigned in January. Since there were 17 candidates on the ballot yesterday, nobody got 50% of the vote.
Republican Clayton Fuller and Democrat Sean Harris advancing to an April 7th runoff in Georgia's 14th congressional district. Fuller, a former district attorney endorsed by President Trump. Harris, a retired Army brigadier general and cattle rancher who previously lost to Greene in the 2024 general election.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. At the World Baseball Classic, the U.S. may be called out after Italy upset the American team last night 8-6.
Because Italy has a 3-0 record and Team USA finished 3-1, the U.S. needs help to stay alive. If Italy beats Mexico tonight, the United States would advance. But if Mexico beats Italy and Mexico scores fewer than 5 runs in a 9-inning victory, it would move on and the U.S. would be out. Game tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern.
That's Fox's Jared Max. In the NBA, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points, second most in a game ever, leading Miami to a win over Washington. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Cloudy skies, 44 degrees. We have a flood watch taking effect later today, and that will continue through the overnight hours tonight. We'll take a closer look at that forecast coming up in just a few minutes. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 8:05. Officials in Herkimer County say a student at Jarvis Middle School was found in possession of a firearm magazine and ammunition on school grounds yesterday. Police arrived at the school within minutes of receiving the report and secured the magazine and ammunition. Officials say that there was never any threat to the campus, and there was never a weapon. There was never a weapon or threat made on campus, and that all students, faculty, and staff were safe. The names of the individual student is not being released because of the age. The investigation into the incident is ongoing. Oneida County Executive Anthony Picenti says the county has launched 2 new public safety tech platforms in its 911 dispatch center, further modernizing operations and improving the county's ability to respond to emergencies and assist local residents. Both systems, built by the public safety tech company Prepared, went live March 10th and significantly expand the capabilities available to the county's emergency communication specialists. 3 of the 6 suspects believed to have been involved in a stabbing and assault on Mohawk Street in Utica now face charges. On March 9th, investigators with the gun-involved violence elimination unit and the tactical unit developed information about 3 of the suspects and made a vehicle traffic stop. 3 people, Youssef Madai, Elias Shago, and Abdi Muhammad, face charges of gang assault. Police say 2 other parties have been identified and are currently being sought in connection with that incident. And Utica police also conducting a drug bust on Cottage Place in the city of Utica after complaints of ongoing drug sales and distribution. As a result, 3 people, Brandon Dobrinsky, Donna Dreesy, and Brooke Edwards, all of Utica, charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance. Hamilton College will test its emergency campus siren on Thursday morning at around 11:15. Campus officials say the test should take no more than 2 minutes. Any activation of the siren before or after 11:15 tomorrow morning should be treated as an actual emergency. Anyone with questions can contact Campus Safety at 315-859-4141. And Bill, Rome police releasing information about an incident that occurred last week. It was an attempted robbery of an Amazon delivery driver. Police say an unknown white male approached the driver, demanding his personal belongings and saying, quote, "This is a robbery." Wow. During the encounter, the suspect became distracted while attempting to access the rear of the delivery vehicle, allowing the driver to safely flee the area. Ultimately, police did arrest 24-year-old Alec DeBella. He's charged with attempted robbery in the second degree, which is a felony offense. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 8:08. Here's a look at your Weather Center forecast.
Warm day today, but big changes on the way. And in between, maybe some flooding with a flood watch to this afternoon and through tomorrow afternoon and evening. As for ice jam flooding, some flooding from melting snow possible in some spots of low-lying areas and also from some of the rain coming in. So west to east this afternoon, we'll start to see showers, thunderstorms, 67. Tonight, rain showers, eventually some snow and sleet mixing in as we fall to near freezing by morning. Maybe some isolated slick areas tomorrow and some passing showers of rain and snow, maybe a little sleet mixing in. A high only 33 with a gusty breeze making it feel colder. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
A flood watch in effect from 2 this afternoon until 5 tomorrow evening. Right now, dry, cloudy, 47 degrees. And when I say dry, I guess it's not raining yet, but we are expecting rain later today. All right, in sports, one of the biggest free agency moves, I shouldn't say free agency, the biggest offseason moves, was a trade sending Max Crosby from the Raiders to the Ravens. Well, Baltimore has now backed out. According to ESPN, the Ravens had medical concerns with the 28-year-old's health. Crosby had 10 sacks this season. He's got a total of 69.5 sacks in his 7 years in the NFL. But that deal has been nixed now, and at least for the time being, he'll stay with the Raiders. The Raiders did make a move yesterday, sending quarterback Geno Smith to one of his old teams. He returns to New York and the Jets. Smith rejoins Gang Green after being selected with the 39th overall pick in 2013. In other news, the Jets also signed cornerback Deshaun Wright to a 1-year contract. Former Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs now heading to the New England Patriots. Doubs led the Packers with 55 catches and a career-high 724 yards and 6 touchdowns this past season. NBA action last night. The Nets were blown out by the Pistons 138-100 at the Barclays Center. The Knicks in need of a win. They'll play the Jazz in Utah tonight. Some NBA history last night as Bam Adebayo scored 83 points. That's the second most in NBA history in a single game, coming up only shy of Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points in 1962. And the Syracuse Orange could have used Bam Adebayo last night as they were bounced from the ACC tournament. They now end the season 15-17. They lost to SMU 86-69.
I kind of thought with the first half that they were gonna be in it, and turns out they were.
I mean,
not.
17 points. SMU's not.
Yeah,
it's not North Carolina,
right?
Not Virginia Tech.
Well, it just wouldn't have made sense had they won.
It's not Virginia.
The Falcon Clinic
Duke
in Washington Mills
or
has
even
added
Clemson.
Dr. Cheryl Mattern, and she now is accepting new patients. If you need a new family doctor, and there are many out there who are in need of a new family doctor, Dr. Mattern is now accepting new patients. You can call them today and schedule and get in pretty quickly, too. 315-507-4751. Of course, other physicians under the umbrella of the Falcon Clinic, Dr. Shemileski, Dr. Zielinski, Dr. Kosminski, all there at the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic. But if you're in need of a new family doctor, Dr. Cheryl Mattern is accepting new patients right now. Call 315-507-4751, the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. And River Hills Properties continues to invest. It's all about services that are provided. No lockbox. Your listing agent is there every time the house is shown. Your listing agent is at the inspection, at the appraisal. They're at every step of the process until you get to the closing. The book, 40 to 100 pages, filled with everything there is to do about the house. Warranty information, when there were improvements made, when was the roof put on, what's the warranty on the furnace. All there in the book, and every house gets one. It's the services provided by River Hills. And you know, they now have a full branch of River Hills agents in Southwest Florida. Beautiful Sarasota, Naples, Marco Island. Maybe you're thinking about going down that Snowbird Road. River Hills can help with agents there ready to take care of you, as well as here in upstate New York. Offices in Barneville, Little Falls, Copenhagen, Utica, Newport, coming soon to Rome. It's River Hills Properties, 315-896-1009. All right, Mayor Galimi is hanging for a little while longer. When we come back, though, we'll get an update on the Iran war with Evan Brown from Fox News Radio. We'll do that and the mayor next on WIBX.
Brought to you by Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, located in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer, and online at tallmanstire.com.
Start your savings at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Now through March 31st, get up to $170 back on a Firestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $70 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Get an additional $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your Tallman's Tire CFNA credit card. Don't wait. These offers end March 31st. Visit Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer, or online at tallmanstire.com.
Possibility starts with the right financial solutions. From AmeriQ Credit Union. Get started today at ameriq.org/possibility.
Don't rely on a standard off-the-shelf security system. When it comes to protecting your business, there's a difference between plug and play and a professionally designed security solution. At CML Security, security is personal. Their skilled technicians meet with you on site, assess your property, and design a customized system to fit your business needs. From security cameras and access control to intercoms and fire alarm systems, they install commercial-grade equipment, including access communications cameras and Milestone video management software, and they offer a 30-day demo so you can see the system in action before committing. Call CML Security at 315-866-5845 today to schedule your on-site consultation. That's 315-866-5845, or visit cmlsecurity.net to learn more. Serving Central New York, CML Security. Call 315-866-5845. Professional protection your business can trust.
St. Patty's Day's here, so come and see. Total Wine and More's the place to be. Cabernet Smooth or Guinness Tall, we've got the best, come grab it all. A Chardonnay crisp and bright, or Sauvignon Blanc pure delight. Not sure yet? Don't fret or fear, our friendly guides will bring good cheer. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Americans are paying more for home and auto insurance, and many are asking what can actually bring those costs down. American Property Casualty Insurance Association President and CEO David Sampson says inflation and disasters play a role, but addressing legal system abuse is a key part of the solution.
Excessive legal costs drive insurance prices higher. States that reduce legal system abuse are seeing stronger markets and lower rates. Addressing these costs help protect consumers.
Learn more at apci.org/insurance.
5
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ROAD to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ROAD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ROAD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, it's your radio buddy Jimmy Fallon, host of Fox Across America. We're talking politics, pop culture, and comedy, minus all the rage and finger-pointing. It's real talk for real people who just want to laugh, think, maybe learn something along the way. So join the fun weekdays at noon right here on WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, Central New York's home for talk that's smart, honest, and just the right amount of crazy. Fox Across America with your main man, Jimmy Fallon.
Celebrating 100 years.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, let's get a quick update from Evan Brown from Fox News Radio. The latest as we start off this Wednesday on the Iran war. Evan Brown, good morning. And what do we know here? Obviously, I think we go to day number 12 of the, I don't know to call it a war or the conflict, whatever it is, but our conflict in Iran.
President Trump using the term war, I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And so, we continue to see this war being prosecuted, and the intensity is ratcheting up really day by day. And that will probably continue until the end result is achieved, and that end result is intended to be the disposition of the Islamic Republic's regime.
Yeah,
which is probably not far off. What has been so different about this war is that both the Americans and the Israelis have the ability to target the brain trust, the people at the top, the inspirational leaders, if you will, but also the people that actually have the know-how to fire the weapons, to command the troops, and so on and so forth. What remains, or what will remain at the end of it all, is underlings who may have their confidence shattered and decide, hey, this ain't really worth it.
Yeah.
Plus, they don't necessarily have the institutional knowledge to step up and really be the next commander. You can slap some stars in someone's collar, but it doesn't make them a general.
Right.
So that's where we're headed. The predictions, of course, is that this will not be long-lived. We're now not quite 2 weeks into it. I think we're kind of getting to the point where we're wondering how many more weeks. But it could be a couple more weeks until the goal is achieved. The ultimate goal, of course, like I said, to dispel this regime, but that ultimately will have to be accomplished by the Iranian people. Both President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have been very, very vocal about this, saying we can weaken the regime for you, but that final push, that taking over, has to come from the Iranian people, and that will. And remember, they're unarmed, and they're maybe organized, motivated, but they're unarmed. So it has to. We, meaning us and the Israelis, have to degrade the powers that be to the point that the people feel confident enough that they can take them.
I realize that Iran is certainly is quite large, but obviously the protesters who were out there, Iran eliminated them, literally killed how many protesters? Thousands of protesters were killed. And then the other
1,000, yeah.
The other problem comes in. It doesn't seem as if the uprising. And I get it. If you're there, do you really want to come out? But a lot of people are coming out in solidarity, and I think a lot of it has to do with the oil fires that have occurred there, the bombing of the elementary school, which increasingly seems to be us, despite the fact that we're basically saying it's being investigated. Have we lost the will of those people? I guess time will tell, right?
We're talking about millions of people, and you don't have an accurate picture of the sentiment on the ground. And I would caution everyone listening to us to stop listening to certain voices on social media who don't know anything, who really have no concept of how this thing works, and who are probably being paid to push a certain position. Please. It's time to ignore those people.
Well, to be fair, at this point, the Strait of Hormuz is still not open.
The Strait of Hormuz is open. We have ships transiting out of it all the time.
Oh, but certainly not the percentage that we need in order to lower the price of oil.
The price of oil has dropped from $120 a barrel yesterday to down below 80 at some point. It's now in the mid-80s, and it was 83 a moment ago when I checked it. So it has dropped because the speculators have gotten a bit more confident that oil can come out of the Strait of Hormuz. So the Strait of Hormuz has a significant portion of the world's oil, not the American oil, because the American oil, we produce enough for ourselves and we net export. So we don't really have a supply problem. We have a transiting problem.
Right.
And that transiting problem has to do with making sure that little bit of oil can get out of the Strait of Hormuz. If it can't for any reason, and the speculators fear that there will be a shortage of oil coming out of there, that pushes the rest of the world to try to buy American oil. It drives the American oil price up. But it came sharply down yesterday, and that'll have some translation to the pump prices we pay probably in a few days to a week, depending on how things go. But that's how the economy of the oil works.
Well, the other part of this is insurance. So the insurance that these ships have to pay in order to which we're trying to offset.
The insurance market on the Strait of Hormuz has predominantly been run by Lloyd's of London, and they have decided that there's too much risk. They don't want to insure these ships, and that's why President Trump last week said, "Okay, we're going to insure them, backed by the U.S. government." Again, that makes the speculators very confident. So, and yesterday we started attacking more Iranian ships that were laying mines. Again, that increases the confidence of the speculators. So, yeah, it's going to be a little rough on the oil prices here. I don't think we're going to have a situation where we're north of $120 per barrel. That's going to be sustained at any real point in time because there's too much effort to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. All right. I enjoy your confidence. I hope you're absolutely correct, because if you are, we have eliminated a threat that has been a threat for a very long time to not only the United States, but to the free world.
Yes, sir. 47 years ago.
All right. Thank you so much, Evan Brown. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
I'll just add
I feel like he was a cheerleader, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. There are facts that we know, and then there's a prediction, and he just gave us a prediction that what he thinks is going to happen is exactly the story that we're hearing from the White House.
It felt more like a stock market outlook, that whole interview.
Well, it did, and that's still a prediction, because part of what happened yesterday is the administration put out a tweet that said that we were escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and then we had to reverse that. The minute that came out, the price of oil went down and stocks went up. By the end of the day, because we had to remove that tweet,
and then it goes back up. It's volatility.
We lost just a little bit in
which I'd love to look at the day trading on oil
and
right
stocks,
now.
But every day this goes on, and he's saying oil is flowing through Hormuz. It is not.
So move off of the oil though. Yeah. Just go. Like, people think of cars and transportation, right? That's really important, because we were talking about the hospital earlier, which we'll get back to, right? Almost every single piece of medical equipment is dependent on it's manufactured from oil. You're right. People
this
don't
will
think
be
about
a
that.
huge.
It is absolutely important for us to keep that open, the Strait of Hormuz, and if we do not ensure for the globe that that's open at this point, it's much more than, hey, people will have to not drive cars and have expensive gas. We are very dependent on oil, and the major dependencies on oil are not necessarily just transportation.
Right, not just gas.
Yeah, and that's what everyone talks
about. The manufacturing of products and all of that. So, but I hope he's correct that this thing ends within the next 2 weeks, sometime between now and the next 2 weeks. If this drags on, it will be a huge drag on not only our economy, but the entire economy in the world.
No conflict is simple, but we all can pray.
All right, in studio right now is Mayor Mike Galimi, and we are talking about a real issue that has nothing to do with Iran.
Nothing.
But everything to do with people's safety here.
But it definitely felt like a war zone.
And that is
on Columbia Street.
Yesterday, 14, well, let's start with 14 ambulances backed up. Let's finish the conversation about the
So let's start with some specifics. If people want to look this up and start to like figure it out themselves, the issue we're dealing with here, and this is every EMS operator, is transfer of care. Those EMS operators cannot legally walk away and take another call until the transfer of care has happened. That is between EMS operator and the service provider, the hospital, MVHS. So that's really what's going on here. So I'm not
in some cases they're backed up.
Exactly.
20 minutes. Some cases,
sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 3 hours. Right.
3 hours is a long time.
The issue we're seeing here is a surge. Okay, that's the issue. Now, really what I'm doing here is talking about this. I'm going to throw some solutions out there, but they're going to be long-term. Some of them are short-term. Some of them are immediate. I'm not looking at this like an EMS operator or the hospital because I'm not them. I'm looking at this as like person/mayor, like you, but then also analyzing this in my head as if I had to be a chief operating officer, right, of any corporation with a problem to solve like this. So that transfer of care is the problem. An immediate solution. I was gonna say let's what are long term right now, but I'm gonna start with the immediate. For me, I'm going to be requesting today. I was already in a conversation with them about this, that they designate a certain amount of beds to be some kind of hybrid situation where they can handle the surge. Because if we don't have the transfer of care, for a lot of times it's us talking to them, just our ambulances locally.
Is it just beds or is it also staff?
So here's the thing. Because
you're going to need a
like
physician.
I said, I'm not them, but obviously beds mean staff.
Well, I'm only asking you because you had a conversation with them.
Well, so the conversation I had was before yesterday. It was like 2 days prior. It was almost like a premonition, like, hey, let's meet about this again because it's ticking up.
And they did tell us yesterday that they have made a complete change to their policy and their procedure.
No, and that helped. It was. We were checking in with them, and we had this conversation last year. They made some changes, and there was an actionable, noticeable difference.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, we're going in the right direction. It's this surge. Now, so short-term solutions. We look at and just get these out there so we can talk about a real thing that's immediate. 2 emergency rooms. Great, but time and money. There aren't 2 emergency rooms right now. An outpatient facility. Right. So one of the things we've talked about for a while is if there was an outpatient facility and the EMS operators could legally say, hey, you don't belong in an emergency room. Can we bring you to the outpatient clinic because you have the flu? You're not an emergency room patient. Can we get a transfer of care to an appropriate facility? But that doesn't exist right now. That's not going to solve the problem. Right. So
you have an ER in Rome. Right. You have Oneida.
Slocum Dixon has one, don't they?
Little Falls.
Those aren't ERs.
That's not an ER.
Urgent care.
Those are urgent cares.
Yep.
Those are urgent cares. So
which they will tell you if you have a life-threatening, don't come here. Go to the
right. But you're saying though maybe some of these cases are just someone complaining of flu-like symptoms.
Well, and so a lot of the calls, if you look at how our EMS calls have changed over the last 10 years, they've gone from severe emergencies, which were the vast majority years ago, to a lot of them end up non-emergency transports, but because 911 was called. I've had conversations with my assemblywoman, right, to say, hey, how do we analyze this? Is there some legal way to separate this so we could still provide the best care and make sure people get to where they need to go, but not necessarily treat everything like a stroke? Because when you treat everything like a stroke, when the stroke happens, there's no room for the stroke.
But they will tell you that if you come and you don't have a life-threatening emergency, and there's someone who does, you're going to sit there and you're going to be in the waiting room.
But if you're sitting in the ambulance and the ambulance is now the waiting room, which is what we experienced yesterday, there are no ambulances for a 200,000 person region.
So some of those people in the ambulance might not be emergency.
I don't have the reports from yesterday yet, but they might not be. So here's the other thing, right? And this is why I'm saying like COO level thought. And this is more near term. It's not a long-term fix. It's not immediate, right? If it's immediate, we have to come up with a real solution for surge. And that doesn't exist yet. Otherwise, yesterday wouldn't have happened, right? And that's not my job or expertise. So I would love to both be able to sit down with MVHS about this amicably and talk about it just so I understand what they're doing, so I could give the community some kind of confidence that it's happening. But also, we need them to solve that. The reality is we got to go back.
Yeah.
We got to go back to 5 years. If I had to analyze this problem, you have to say, okay, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we had 2 emergency rooms. But what if that isn't the solution, right? We got to look at what the calls looked like, how many calls there were, what our surges looked like across both those emergency rooms.
Let me throw an example.
We need all that information to figure out what the real problem is.
If you remember, prior to this, the hospital was going broke. The MVHS with the 2 or 3 hospitals were going broke.
Right.
So you said you were at the ER last week, and
a couple weeks ago, yeah,
it was quiet.
Quiet.
So now we have yesterday that pops up. So
That's
if
insane.
yesterday is the rare situation, can a business model with 2 hospitals in the city of Utica, 2 at the very least ERs in the city,
one that would help, 100%.
That would help.
If you had twice the staff and twice the emergency rooms,
can they financially make it go?
And that's what I mean. The problem is time and money. And is the time and money there? Is there there's a demand?
Enough of a demand to have it 24/7.
Demand is there, but is the financial demand there? Because how is the billing happening?
And let's hope it's not. Let's hope it's not, because you would hope that the financial research was done in advance of building the hospital.
Right. Here's the thing. We do have 1 emergency room. We do have this surge problem. So we need to address the immediate surge issue. We as a community, right? But that's really between the EMS operators, which the city happens to be one, and the others. Now, I have to admit, are kind of the biggest complainers of this, because a lot of the backup...
It's costing you revenue.
Well, it's costing us revenue, but I guess we're the most consistent complaints because our ambulances happen to be the ones experiencing what I would say the most transfer of care issues, because we bring the most calls there. We're in Utica. They had emergency rooms in Utica.
Is Kunkel still...
Kunkel still exists.
I know they still exist.
Vinyl still exists. They're all there.
I was told that Kunkel doesn't necessarily like to do the emergency calls. They have focused more on nursing home calls.
I couldn't speak to that. What I do know is the difference between ALS and BLS, which is the severity.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing more ALS, which is more severe. They may be doing more BLS. But I have to say, right now, we need an immediate surge issue because when it was empty, the care was perfect. When we have yesterday, everything gets backed up. And then, like you said, there's no ambulances for the region. But it's a problem we can't fix immediately right now with the real solutions. So if you go back, we have to analyze, which this is what I'm requesting, right? What did the calls look like before? Why did it change? Because even if we had 2 emergency rooms, would we still have 7 ambulances backed up each of the 2? Was there a legislative change? Was there a legal change? Is this an issue where we are now forced to do certain things similar to, say, the unfunded mandates we experience across the rest of the government? A lot of this is affected by government legislation, what we have to do. So it's a huge problem, but I can't help myself but look at it like, the COO level problem solving. I'm going to be asking those questions and saying, why can't we do this? Right now, if I had to say, let's do something to fix this, I would be saying, listen, we have to staff, make sure the equipment's available for, and create a hybrid zone where there are, say, 10 more beds so that transfer of care can happen faster. And here's the other issue. Is it an issue of working together with different paperwork to triage faster? Like, I can't tell you what the problem is right now because I'm listing 1,000 potential issues, but those need to be discussed in that immediate, the near term, and the long term solutions because we need it for the community.
Grab those headphones. I have some people with some questions. Wayne, you're on first with Mayor Galimi. I got about 5 minutes here, so Wayne, you're on with the mayor.
All right, I got about 30 seconds. Okay. Here. Don't you think that because of the way that Medicaid handles things and letting these people, lower income people, just call and use it like a taxi cab, that could be some of the problem right there? They're calling for ambulance service when they don't need it.
So that is absolutely part of the problem. But that's why I'm saying this is a combination of what we are mandated to do. Because if someone calls 911, we can't not go. We can't not go. And then once they're in our care. What's that?
But can you send an Uber instead?
No, we can't. Legally, we can't. That's part of the problem. And that's why this
However,
is a very complicated issue.
The patient, if they have someone there, could opt to get in their own vehicle and drive to the hospital.
Absolutely. But that's on their own accord. Now, this is why I brought up billing. Okay, so I can't remember the person's name that was on the radio. I can't remember if you told me. But you mentioned Medicaid, Medicare, right? One of the things we have to deal with is we have to do billing, right? And we don't get paid the full amount. And that's where that free market issue is a problem here, Bill, based on what gets paid out.
Yeah.
There's no market necessarily for someone to come in and make another emergency room financially viable. That needs to be assessed, because if that is why we have this problem, that's like a state and federal level issue. And that's why I'm saying a lot of these things that we're going to discuss that might have caused this, unfortunately, now we have a problem that's going to be very difficult and long term to solve.
All right, Wayne, thank you, man.
All right, can I sneak something else in?
Quickly,
You guys, did you look at the U.S. baseball against the Italy? Did you see the guys from Italy look like they were all on steroids?
I didn't actually, but now I'm going to go check it out. I am.
Look.
They're huge.
You talking about last night's game?
Everyone knows Italians aren't huge. What are we doing here?
I personally think it's prosciutto and red wine, but whatever. We'll see what happens.
All right, Wayne, thank you. Here's Rick. Rick in Utica, you're on with the mayor. Hi, Rick. Did I lose you, Rick? Testing 1, 2.
Okay, so I have a question. 20 Lafayette Street in Utica, that's the former Utica National Insurance Building. That was just purchased by MVHS. Is that on the tax rolls or no?
I was notified it was purchased. It is currently on the tax rolls. The purchase, and I would like to keep it on the tax rolls.
Let me go to...
Well, why wouldn't it be? How would that happen? You would have to authorize that, wouldn't you?
No, depending on the use. If it ends up actually used for not-for-profit use of what's currently in the hospital, it potentially could be taken off the tax rolls. If that's used for any type of office space, any for-profit use, even if MVHS owns that and it's leased by for-profit, it will stay in the tax rolls, and that is what we are hoping happens, and we will push for.
And it was supposed to be office space, right? Medical office space?
Check line 2, please.
Yes.
Just see what is there. Here is Rick. Hi, Rick. You're on the radio.
Hey, Mike. It's Rick B. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Okay. I'm in a dead spot, on Oneida Street, but hang in there.
Okay.
The hospital has the money to purchase the building they just purchased, and they're sitting on quite a bit of equity at St. Luke's and St. E's. So let's not say there's a long-term shortage of money there. Maybe there's a short term, but they have money, Michael, or they're going to have money, correct?
Well, so that's why I keep saying time or money. Let's say an outpatient clinic is the way to go downtown. It still has to be built now. That's one of the things we were discussing 10 years ago when the downtown hospital was all the raging debate. We said, hey, if we're going to put a hospital downtown, we're also going to need an outpatient clinic, because what's going to happen is if that's the only emergency room and the only hospital, everyone who should be going to an outpatient urgent care is going to end up going to an emergency room, for example, because they just need help. And without that downtown, there's no diversion. But even if the money's there, where's it going to go, right? And how are they going to build it? They can't build that immediately and just make that happen. So even if the money is there, the time is also an issue right now, because we have this surge problem that's truly putting people at risk.
All right,
Michael, we don't have to build brand new all the time. There's Faxton, and there are retail places that are available.
Faxton is, by the way,
I 100% agree with you.
Faxton is full.
Faxton is full, yes, 100%. And I'm not the hospital. I'm not the EMS providers. However, I agree with you. Building new is not cheaper. It is not always the way to go. But even if they found a facility, you just mentioned Utica National, Jeff, right? Let's say they said, hey, let's turn Utica National into a secondary outpatient clinic. Right now, it's just a Utica National office building, right? Even if they weren't going to build new, it's still time. So what I'm getting at is we should be appropriately analyzing this problem. Walking back 6 years ago, before we had this problem, finding out what really caused it, and actually work towards putting time and funding towards a real solution, because we can't keep doing this, because it's gonna. Well, yesterday it did cause a risk. It did cause risk.
You're in the right, Mike, you're in the right direction.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Rick, thank you. And then one more, John in Bridgewater. John, you're on with the mayor.
Hey, Bill. Good morning. Hey, Mayor. Hey, this has nothing to do with Utica, but I got a scanner, and I want to go with the volunteer ambulance services. I had a buddy of mine that had a heart attack. The tone went out for the fire company. I don't know how many minutes it takes. Nobody answered. So the phone went out again. Nobody answered. So finally the call went to Riscony Falls. So there's definitely, time is an essence, man. And my buddy died of a heart attack. And these volunteers, I'm not calling them under, but something's got to be done. They got to help the volunteers, man. And even if he would have got to the hospital, he would have never made it through.
Right.
So I'm just bringing it, to the volunteers, in the area. God bless them, but they're overstressed.
All right, maybe we need more.
Dying. And I hear multiple calls, people falling down all of a sudden. Now they're going to help people get up from falling down. I never heard that before, but now it is. So thanks for listening and have a good day, man.
All right, John. Thanks.
Thank you,
I'm
John.
Just not happy with. Yes.
No, I was just going to say, John brings up a great point. We think about the EMS providers that are paid, right? But it's also stressing the volunteer organizations to the point where when I was at NICOM, New York Conference of Mayors, we had a giant conference discussion about this with all the other mayors because this spans all of it. That's actually where I run into Bill Vinall all the time because he's a deputy mayor now, was a mayor, right? He also owns an ambulance service. We talk about not just the numbers behind it, because actually I've run him a lot of the numbers because you guys are always asking how much ours costs to run.
Yeah.
So I talk to the private sector to figure out how much theirs is to make sure we're doing the right things. But it's the transfer of care. And the last time I sat in Assemblywoman Buttonshawn's office in Albany, which was a couple months ago, we talked about this. I said, listen, let's pull all the legislation that designates when transfer of care can happen, because what if there's something we can fix to fix the triage times, allow more realistic triage times for non-emergencies. Like callers keep calling in and saying it is real. People are calling because they want to ride.
It's a problem.
We have, and I will say this, we have transported people to the Wynn, and they get out of the ambulance and they say thanks for the ride and they walk away. That's happened.
Wow.
And that is wasting resources.
Have you ever thought about punching those people?
Well,
because I think that would be a good solution.
It's a disappointment in society, but that's the other thing. When I was speaking with the hospital, I said a lot of this is a societal issue, but we still have to fix the problem.
Final question.
Can you charge somebody who does something like that? I think that's an option that should be looked at.
Punching better. I think the punch is a far better solution.
If I were to call 911 and say I was being stabbed, robbed, something like that, and it was a false claim.
Final
question.
Are you going to endorse someone in the seat that is currently held by Marianne Buttonshawn? Will you endorse?
Even if I was, I wouldn't be doing it until after the primary.
I just thought you'd want to do no one in the primary. You're not going to endorse anything.
I actually have been so consumed with the budget.
Okay.
I haven't sat down with any candidates about what they're doing, and you know how I am. I do my due diligence. So
I do know that. All right, Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. I want to tell you, in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, why would you go anywhere else? We go to Sarah's because they have the best selection, and it's the largest selection in the area. Whether you're looking to save big on hardwood or carpeting or vinyl remnants, the list goes on. Unique flooring in a lot of cases that you won't find anywhere else, even the big box stores. Tile, some of the greatest solutions when it comes to tile. You oftentimes will pay below cost at Sarah's Flooring Outlet. See why more people buy from the big store in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road, Marcy, and in sarahsflooringoutlet.com. Ryan Nobles from NBC on the line right now. Ryan, good morning.
Bill, good morning. How are you, my friend?
Good. We have a lot going down. What are you working on today? And then I've got some questions I want to throw at you.
I mean, one of these times you're going to come on and be like, Ryan, there's nothing to talk about.
There is nothing. I don't think the next 3 years we'll be doing that, to be honest with you. This is a very active president.
Yes. Well, I was just in Florida on Monday and was in the room with the president when he spoke to the press after he had addressed a Republican conference about the war in Iran, and a wide range of things that the reporters in the room talked about. But the story that I'm kind of focused on right now from a congressional perspective is this fight over the Save America Act, which I know you and I and our friend Joe Lode have talked about voting issues and voting rights and things along those lines. But there are, the MAGA base right now, and the president specifically, are obsessed with this idea that they have to pass this bill in order to protect election integrity, as they describe it. And the president keeps adding on the list of things that he wants to put in this bill. Initially, it was just a voter ID bill, which voter ID is actually a very popular policy proposal. Probably around 80% of Americans think you should show a photo ID when you go to vote. But then they've added all these additional provisions. You have to be able to prove you're a citizen. Then he wants to eliminate gender transitioning for minors. All these things that have nothing to do with voting, and it's just made the process more complicated. And the issue the president has, the issue Republicans have, is that it requires 60 votes in the Senate to pass something like this, and that would mean Democrats need to support it. And there's just no Democrat support for it right now. And what the MAGA base has done is that they've convinced the rank-and-file Republican that there's some sort of magic solution to solving this problem, to getting around the legislative filibuster. They're talking about this magical talking filibuster, which isn't really a thing that can practically be done. They're talking about just blowing up the filibuster completely, which would mean if Republicans ever lost control of the Senate, you'd probably see a PAC Supreme Court and a wide range of other issues that I'm sure conservatives aren't interested in. But the reason I bring this up is I just think that the average American Republican right now is misunderstanding where things are in this process, as if the Republicans in charge don't want to pass this bill. It's not that they don't want to pass this bill. They just don't have the process in place to do it. And I think in many ways they're being sold a bill of goods by the president that there's a realistic path to this passing when in reality there isn't.
Not to mention the margin in the House continues to erode for Republicans.
That's right. I mean, this bill has already passed the House, not the one
right.
Additions not with the additions that the president has asked for. But yes, every single day there's Tim Burchett of Tennessee often jokes that we're one bad cold away from losing the majority. The Republicans are, because of how tight things are, and so that is always going to constantly be something that's going to be hanging over the Republicans' head through the midterms. And so I just think we've entered a phase right now, because what the president has threatened is that he's not going to sign anything until he gets the SAVE Act. He's not going to get the SAVE Act. So we are in a bit of legislative paralysis here, and could be through the midterms. And that's going to make it very difficult to do basic stuff. Like, for instance, Bill, we don't ever talk about it, but we're 25 days plus without a funding bill for the Department of Homeland Security. All these folks at work, I was at the airport
and Ryan,
yesterday.
How is it that neither side seems to really be overly concerned with with negotiating to get this done?
So the lack of urgency from both Republicans and Democrats around the fact that the Department of Homeland Security remains
blows my
unfunded.
mind. Yeah,
it's just astounding. And yesterday they traded shots back and forth. Katie Britt, who's the lead negotiator for the Republicans, said that the Democrats aren't even coming to the table, and then Chuck Schumer said that was a blatant lie. It's a lot of name calling, but no real substantive movement. One of the things that the Democrats proposed yesterday was basically to take every other aspect of the Department of Homeland Security off the table. Pass funding for FEMA, pass funding for TSA, pass funding for the different cybersecurity programs, and then just leave ICE and CBP in a separate pot so that they could negotiate reforms to that. Republicans have rejected that proposal, so that's part of the reason that we're in the stalemate that we're in right now.
I want to ask on the Iran war. I find it very interesting, and I flip over. I watch everybody, and I also have to tell you, there's more on podcast today with real people who have been in the position of power, of intelligence, etc., and really were a part of fighting the war the last time Iran and Iraq were at war and we were involved. So everybody has, but as you go around, I got to tell you, Fox News Channel is all in on what the president is saying. In fact, I just had a reporter on who basically told me, stop listening to everybody else. These are people probably being paid to make it look like we're not winning the war. The fact is, every day this goes on, which is bull something.
Yes.
But okay. But isn't it the job of this reporter to question our government? Isn't that why you are there? It just blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's my job. You know, when I'm in the room with the president, I'm not there just to peddle his talking points.
Yeah, you don't buy everything that you're told. That is not your job.
And I think the best example of this, and one of the reasons that the free press is such an important part of this process is, listen, you know, I'm an American first, and I want the United States to be successful in this endeavor. But part of the United States being successful in this endeavor is asking probing questions and forcing the administration to be accountable when they make mistakes. And this situation with the fact that a elementary school was bombed and 175 people were killed that were innocent, many of them children, and the administration has yet to provide a reasonable explanation for it, where all the evidence points to the fact that the United States was responsible for it. It was a Tomahawk missile. We're the only ones with Tomahawk missiles. And the president in that press conference I was in on Monday suggested somehow that Iran might have stolen a Tomahawk missile or acquired one through some means without any shred of evidence. And to me, the responsibility of us as reporters, and he was pressed on this, I think, 2 or 3 different times. There was a particularly very tough exchange with the New York Times reporter, and the president doesn't have any evidence to back that up. And it's our job, and it's the job of the American people, to demand answers in situations like these. If we don't, if we allow them to continue to make mistakes, if they just run roughshod, this war is going to last even longer. Your best chance of success is having a very probing and very specific questioning of every move that is made, and also an accountability for the lives lost and the way that those lives are lost, which is another thing. Yeah.
The American way, the integrity, what makes America different is when a mistake is made. And listening to the White House press conference yesterday, she kept coming back and saying, we do not attack schools. No one is saying that the United States purposely attacked
right.
an elementary school, but mistakes occur. And the beauty of the United States is that we've always been above the rest. We're willing to say, listen, a mistake was made. It's a horrific mistake, and it shouldn't have happened, but it did. We're looking into it. I don't understand why.
For it.
There could be. Yes.
There's been some very good reporting about it. There's a suggestion that perhaps at one point there was a military installation there. And there was faulty intelligence that led to that. I mean, mistakes happen in war. That's part of the reason war is so awful. So it's not, I don't think anybody is accusing the administration of purposely targeting a school with 175 kids in it. No one is doing that. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some level of accountability that needs to be rectified here and accounted for.
And the other part of this is it is not an invalid question, which I was basically scolded by a reporter for going down this road. It is not an invalid question to say, based on military history. I mean, just look at the German bombing of Great Britain during World War II. They didn't win the war. They bombed the hell out of London. Over and over and over. For months and months it went on. But it actually created a resolve in the people of Great Britain that allowed them to stand up and continue to fight against Germany. And obviously the history there, and the Allies and all of that. But still, it does seem that there seems to be a growing coalition of citizens in Iran who are having their homes and their businesses and all of their infrastructure just pummeled. It seems like there is a movement in opinion there that isn't as much anti-Iran. It's now becoming anti-American. I realize it's anecdotal, but still, that's something to be considered. And the history of winning wars by just air raids and bombing a country has not been successful historically.
You don't have to go that far back, Bill. I mean, look at what's happening in Russia with Russia and Ukraine. I mean, they're bombing the heck out of that country. This war slogged on for 3 years, and the people there even have more resolve. I mean, we bombed Afghanistan and Iraq for 20 years, and both of those countries are still in disarray. So, listen, there's every reason to believe that Iran was a bad actor, that they were the biggest sponsor of state terror of any country in the world, that they had designed plans to eliminate Israel off the map. I think all those things are likely true. But that doesn't mean, and if that's the case, come and put the evidence on the table and say, this is why we think this is happening. But the president, in the press conference I was in on Monday, and I'm sorry I keep referencing that, but it's so fresh in my mind, he just kept saying over and over, I had a feeling that they were going to attack. Well, you don't bomb an entire country based on feelings. You base it, based on
the wording
intelligence.
The wording is now a feeling based on fact. And I don't know what that is. I have a couple quickies, and then we'll let you go.
Mm-hmm.
Steven says, stop paychecks and perks for Congress. When they shut down, they don't get paid. I think that's a reasonable proposal and one that has never seen the light of day, but I think I agree.
I can't say I agree or disagree, but I think it's definitely worth something that should be explored. Yep.
And then the announcement has been made here that Autry has been fired as head coach of SU basketball.
Well, I think we know where the solution to that problem is. And he's in Albany, New York right now, leading the Siena
You
Saints
like that?
to their
Okay.
first MAC championship in 21 years. If Jerry McNamara is not the head coach of the Syracuse Orange by April 1st, I think that's going to be a real problem. But,
all right, Ryan, we'll be watching. Interesting stuff all the way around. Go Mets, go Bills, go Syracuse. Have a great day.
Go Sabres. We don't ever talk about
Sabres.
them.
Go Sabres.
I'm hot on that.
Go
Yeah,
Devils.
all right.
Go Devils. We're in Devils country here. So.
Oh, I forgot.
All right. Thank you.
See you guys.
All right,
All right,
Ryan Nobles. Let me tell you, Steve Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville. Save on a Mazda lease. Enjoy APR financing that is low, low, low. You can see the dealership for details. They've increased their inventory. And Ricky Z says, come on down and let's make your deal on a new Mazda where it's always easy to do business. Steve Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive, Yorkville.
Start your savings at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Now through March 31st, get up to $180 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your Tallman's Tire CFNA credit card. Don't wait. These offers end March 31st. Visit Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer, or online at tallmanstire.com.
Riverdance is coming to the Stanley Theater March 18th and 19th, celebrating its spectacular 30th anniversary. For 3 decades, Riverdance has wowed audiences worldwide with its powerful blend of Irish and international dance, Grammy Award-winning music, and breathtaking choreography. Now, the anniversary tour brings new choreography, stunning costumes, cutting-edge lighting and projection, and introduces the new generation of performers. Get your tickets at the box office